Hello everyone, this is part 3 of What If Naruto Had the 10 Tails Juubi, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to see more, comment down below. Slept. The world had changed in that time. No more ninja. Now there was benders. Still peace reigned. If it didn't, he would wake. Or would he? Tylee was a cheery girl. Hyperactive, some would say. Even as the world had been at war 100 years, she kept her smile. It was admirable. But there were times when she just wanted somebody who understood her sadness. It was a gift and curse to be able to read people's aura. It meant she could tell how others felt except when it pertained to her. Truth was her parents were dead, her siblings were not nice and bullied her often, and her best friend was a homicidal and almost psychotic firebender princess. She had found a cave years ago where she could be alone, and nobody seemed to know about it. Strange, but it suited her. Little did she know today her luck would change. Stupid sisters. Not my fault, they are no fun. I can't make any friends because any time I do they chase 'em off. Forget having a boyfriend. Why me? Suddenly the cave floor beneath her gave way and she tumbles below. OWWWWWW. Rubbing her sore butt, she looks around. I wonder how old this place is. Looks like the hallway to a really old mansion. Walking down the hallway she notes the pictures of many smiling happy women and children. Some of whom remind her of herself for some reason. Wish I could be that happy. Wonder who they are. She walks for what feels like hours until she finds a large golden door. Figuring she's come this far, she opens it and walks inside. On the walls are many kinds of weapons and pictures of wars she has never heard of. Great beasts. And people with amazing powers that look equal to the Avatar. What is this place? Suddenly she notices a very nice looking bed. Curious, she looks at it to find it occupied by a man who looks a little older than her. A very handsome man. Strange. This place seemed buried and yet you're breathing. Who are you? She decides to wake him, but it's harder than it seems. She's about to give up when she notices a strange seal on his stomach and moves to touch it. As she does, she feels a sharp prick and startled she falls back on her butt again. What? She gets up and looks at the seal to see it absorbing the blood and burning. As soon as it's gone, the man's eyes open suddenly and he sits up. Ugh. Damn it. Why do I feel like I overslept? It's then he notices he's not alone and he looks at the girl on the floor who seems shocked. Hi. Sorry, but you wouldn't happen to know if there is a war going on, would you? Tylee looks at the man and frowns. Yeah, for about 100 years now. Naruto groans. So, I did oversleep. By why didn't I wake? Tylee is more and more confused. It could be that seal I found on you. I found you here and you were asleep. I tried to wake you, but you wouldn't until that seal cut me and absorbed my blood. Then it burned and you woke. Naruto frowns. Damn, that means somebody must have planned this. Somebody who knew of me. Tylee gets up and stands by the man. Quick question. Who are you and what are you talking about? Naruto blinks. Sorry, you're right. I'm Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Shinju. Nice to meet you. Tylee's eyes widen. Shinju. As in the god that has been sleeping 4,000 years. The god of nature and peace. Naruto grins. 4,000 years, huh? Hey, that's 3,000 more than Hagoromo. Nice. Yeah, that's me. And you are? Blinking several times, she answers. I'm Tylee. Nice to meet you, Tylee. So how did you get here? I live on the island with my sisters. But I sometimes need some time alone to think, so I come to this cave which somehow nobody seems to know of. Then the floor broke and I was admiring the pictures in the hall, then found you. Naruto smiles. My family. I lived 1,000 years, and, in that time, I had 10 wives and many lovers. A big family, just as I always wanted. My dream since childhood. She looks down and sheds a tear. You look lonely. Unappreciated. Want to tell me about it? She sits on the end of the bed and tells him of her life so far. Her family. Her friend Azula. All the while Naruto listens and learns. You've not had a happy life. Even though you act happy. Reminds me of my early years. You said you were admiring the weapons on the walls here. She nods enthusiastically. Yeah, I always loved learning about weapons. More exotic the better. Never seen anything like these though. Naruto smirks. You never got the urge to start yelling about youth, did you? She tilts her head and nods embarrassed. Yeah, sometimes, but I grew out of it. Naruto chuckles. Tyler, you wouldn't happen to know the names Tenten and Rock Lee, would you? She pouts cutely and thinks. Names ring a bell, but I can't remember. They were good friends when I was growing up. I think you might be the descendant. How so? Besides the fact you are Tenten's spitting image at your age, your love of weapons is the same. And Rock Lee was a real oddball. Always wearing ugly green tights with huge eyebrows and a bowl cut, yelling about youth. He was a minime of his sensei Mito guy. Thank Kami, you look like Tenten. She blushes and shifts her feet. Why did you go to sleep? Naruto nods. As a god, I am tempted to make changes in the world. While undoubtedly that would improve it, I felt I should keep my meddling to those areas I decided when I was still mortal. Bringing peace and living a good life. I brought peace in my time and kept it for over 1,000 years. Feeling the world didn't need my help, I slept. I was meant to wake when a significant conflict arose. I almost did once, but somebody averted it in time. Tell me what has changed here. Tylee smiles. I studied this, but information is scarce as only the Fire Lord has all the records. About 1,000 years following your sleep, the ninja faded out of existence. The world changed. Nature came alive and formed spirits. For a time, they lived in harmony with humans, but it wasn't to last. A fight broke out and a fire burned down a forest full of spirits. Apparently, it was a bender who stole the powers from a lion turtle and lived in the wild. A forbidden act. At the time, all humans lived on a giant lion turtle and they gave us the power of bending. Never more than one element as we couldn't handle it. Earth, air, fire or water depending on which one. To stop the fighting, a man went to each turtle and took the power of each element. Nobody knows how. Using his power, he stopped the fighting and made peace with the spirits. But the spirits no longer trusted humans, so they left the world for their own. He became the first bender of all four elements. The bridge between spirit and human. The Avatar. The lion turtles left the world too supposedly, and humans lived on as we are now. Not everybody is a bender, but at least half of people can bend an element. The Avatar though can still bend all four. He is always reborn into the next nation in the cycle. Earth, water, fire, air. Each is charged with maintaining balance in the nations and prevent war. But it didn't stay that way. About 100 years ago, the Fire Lord of the time, thinking firebending superior to all other forms, decided to wage war. Knowing the cycle, he destroyed the air nomads first to disrupt it and prevent the birth of the Avatar. He used the power of a comet he discovered to amplify his powers. Sozan's comet. We know he wiped him out, but it's unknown if the Avatar survived. If he has, though, he has been hiding 100 years. And the war rages on. The southern water tribe is all but gone and the northern still stands, as do most of the Earth Nation cities. I see. Somebody was very thorough. Only the Fire Lord could have done this from what you said. This Azula. What sort of person is she? Most of the time she's good to her friends, but she can be cruel, quick to anger, arrogant and self-entitled. Naruto frowns. Sasuke, I should never have healed you. Your children bring ruin. Naruto assumes a lotus position and tries to summon his power, but much of it is blocked. Damn, as I suspected. What? I am still immortal, but much of my power has been sealed. My guess is Sozan put that seal on me to prevent my waking and to siphon off my power to seal in an object. Tylee gasps. Like a comet. Naruto smiles and kisses Tylee on the cheek, causing her to turn bright red. But thanks to you I am awake, and as the comet grows closer, I will regain my power. All I need is time and to learn the ways of this new time. Anything I can do to repay you, just ask. Tylee smiles and shuffles shyly. Would you be my boyfriend? Naruto grins. Tell you what, let's go on a date or two and see where it goes. Tylee jumps around the room in excitement and he chuckles. Then he frowns and looks at his clothes. Might need a job so I can get some clothes. I look a bit suspicious in this. What do you think, Tylee? She stops and looks at him. I was thinking of joining the circus, but maybe we could try mercenary work. It's good pay and you get to pick your own jobs. Besides, nobody will look twice at an exotically dressed merc if they do a good job. Naruto smiles. Mercenary work, huh? I can do that. That's basically what ninja were before the Shinju age. But are you a bender? No, but I have other skills. As an acrobat, I am flexible and fast and coordinated. I excel in throwing weapons. I can also block off chi by striking certain nerves, which stops benders from bending. Naruto smiles. That blush makes sense now. You got a little Hinata in you too. At least you don't faint at the slightest touch from somebody you like. On the way out, I think I will show you some of my old friends if their portraits are still around. Some of the pictures of your wives and kids looked a little like me. Are we related? Naruto ponders. I doubt it. You don't show any of the typical Uzumaki traits. If we are, though, it would be like one drop of blood for an ocean at this point. People married second cousins in my time, so it wouldn't be that weird to me. EWWWY. Clan tradition. Clans often kept such traditions to prevent their bloodlines dying out or to keep bloodlines strong and pure. It didn't result in inbreeding as long as the people weren't really closely related, though it did happen. Come, let's pick out some weapons to take with us. If you are going to travel with me, I want you to learn some new skills. Tylee bounces over to the wall, causing a chuckle. Tylee points at two weapons on the wall that interest her. A small double-edged knife with a ring on the hilt and a 4-point bladed star. What are those? Kunai and shuriken. The most basic weapons of a shinobi. Shuriken are mostly a distraction but can cause good damage if thrown with accuracy. Tenten was deadly with any blade, but she excelled in these. The kunai is multi-purpose. Either a close-quarters weapon, a throwing knife, or a tool for digging if needed. The ring on the pommel is used either to strike an enemy or to attach wire to tie them up from a distance. Naruto takes a pair of kunai and a half-dozen shuriken and skillfully tosses them into the head of a nearby training dummy. Wow. And this? Pointing at a long metal needle. Senbon. Used mostly by medical ninja, it's perfect for striking nerves at a distance to do anything from disable a person, knock them out, or even put them in a near-death state in which nobody can tell the difference. Poisons can also be used with this, as with all blades. Given your specialty with nerve strikes, I think this would suit you well. Naruto seals away a pouch filled with hundreds of senbon and another with kunai and shuriken. Tylee questions him on that. Sealing. I guess it's a lost art now. It's what made the Uzumaki great, though. Sealing was capable for doing many things, from sealing items in a scroll to healing, boosting a person's power temporarily, even sealing a demon in a human. That's just scratching the surface. Tylee frowns. Is that what those huge beasts are on the paintings? Naruto nods. Yes, the Biju. They weren't really demons, though. They were originally part of the original Shinju. When Kaguya took his power, he fought her, and she absorbed him. She went mad, though, and became a beast. The Juubi. The Shinju's mind was locked away. When her sons defeated her, the eldest sealed her within himself, becoming the first Jinchuriki. On his deathbed, he used his power to prevent the beast's escape by dividing its power into 9 pieces and giving them form and consciousness. They became the Biju. The Juubi's body, however, was sealed away. He created the moon as its prison. The moon. Where did the moon spirit come from then? Naruto nods. After becoming a god, I took the Juubi's body and split the remains of the old Shinju and Kaguya out of it. Because she was desperate before being sealed, she created a monster with her will, and it led events to that point. But it was too corrupted to allow back to her, so I resealed her in the moon. Over time, her body woke and gained a new will and life. Eventually, I expect that her or her descendant became the moon spirit we know now. Wow. Naruto nods. Now you have your long range, I think we should find something for short. Something light and fast. Tenten used a bow staff or club. Him to reached for you. Maybe. Yes, claws. Naruto walks over to a table which holds a set of hand claws with 4 curved blades on each. Smiling, he picks them up and presents them to Tylee. She marvels at them. Beautiful. Naruto nods. A gift from Hinata's daughter on her deathbed. Hisui was a kind girl, but she had a sharp tongue. These blades were forged on the same forges as the 7 blades of the mist under that belief. Her father Kiba had them made for her. He was so proud the day she made Chunin. Are you sure? Seems like a family heirloom to me. Naruto shakes his head. Her last wish was for me to pass them on to somebody I believe would use them well. Now I have done that. Naruto walks to a seemingly empty wall and goes through hand signs before slamming his hands into the wall, causing it to shimmer away and reveal some rather special-looking weapons. His mother's sword, his father's kunai, his sensei's mask. his third wife's dagger, his first son's claws and his armor. Pretty sure there was a wall there before. Genjutsu. You only thought there was a wall there. Hidden in an illusion. One of the 5 primary ninja arts. Which are taijutsu, ninjutsu, genjutsu, kenjutsu and fuinjutsu. Your ancestors were masters in taijutsu and kenjutsu. Mine in kenjutsu and fuinjutsu. I also excelled in ninjutsu, but until later in my mortal life I was incapable of using genjutsu. Why? Naruto smiles. I will explain during your training. Come, I want to show you my oldest friends before we leave. Naruto opens a hidden door and smirks at Tylee. First rule of ninja. Look underneath the underneath. She frowns. What does that mean? I didn't get it at first either. Basically, a ninja's life is one of deception. If you can't tell when somebody is deceiving you, then you will die or get somebody killed. It doesn't just extend to ninja though, if my life is any indication. What was you, life like? Naruto pauses and frowns, seemingly lost in thought. A story for another time. After nearly 20 minutes walking through the hidden corridor, Naruto smiles. Here, the Konoha 12, my classmates in the academy, and on the other side are those who earned themselves a place in my heart but not of the 12. Why were they called the Konoha 12? Every year at the academy you are given a test to graduate and become genin. But that's only the start. Just because you graduate does not mean you are genin. That is decided by your assigned Junin sensei. That year only 9 passed that test, including myself. Just as that is a rare thing, just 6 months later the Chunin exams were held. It's rare for one rookie team to be entered, but that year 4 teams entered. So, we became known as the Konoha 12. Tylee stares at him blankly. Sounds like your sensei were lazy. Naruto smirks. Kurenai was a bit of an overbearing mother figure for her team, and Guy was crazy as a loon, but yeah, Kakashi and Asuma were lazy as a Nara. Nara. Naruto points to Shikamaru, who looks sleepy even in the painting. Shikamaru Nara. The Nara clan were the strategists of Konoha. Each one a genius, but all lazy as all get out. If they weren't sleeping or looking at clouds, they were calling something troublesome or a drag. Tylee giggles. Sounds like my friend Mai. And here is Tenten and Lee. Tylee gazes at her ancestors and smiles. You were right. I'm glad I look like Tenten. Naruto nods and laughs. I always thought she would end up with Neji, but I think he ended up with a civilian girl. Not a Hyuga thing to do, but then they changed a lot after the Exodus. Exodus. Naruto nods. After I was banished from Konoha, my lineage was made known and all laws keeping my status secret revoked. Many people who knew my parents were disgusted with my treatment but could do nothing because of the law. Once a zoo was on its way to being repaired, many came to live and work there. 5 years later, when I finished my training and gained the power of the Shinju, most of the rest left Konoha in a mass exodus. I'm surprised that didn't cause a war. That would have crippled the village. Naruto nods. Had anybody else been Hokage, you would be right. Besides, I left enough financial support in Konoha for a long time for their economy to recover, and the exodus was slow going, so they dealt with the changes well. Konoha survived at least until I went to sleep, and by that time was stronger than ever. Who and what is the Hokage? I'm not surprised you don't know. Kage or Shadow is the leader of one of the major villages. There were 5 major villages until a zoo was rebuilt. Hokage or Fire Shadow. Reikage or Lightning Shadow. Mizukage or Water Shadow. Gazekage or Wind Shadow. Tsuchikage or Stone Shadow. Later I was known as the Azukage or Well Shadow. A Kage is the strongest ninja in a village who serves the people. Make no mistake though, these were ninja villages, and so while we had civilians, we were a military dictatorship. Only a land's daimyo had power over a Kage unless they let their council have too much leeway. That's what led to my life being as it was when I was a child. But like I said, that's a story for later. The Hokage when I was a child was Hiruzen Sarutobi. He pointed to a picture of a kindly old man. He died during the Chunin exams when a new village and an ally invaded. Killed by his own student. The new Hokage after that was Tsunade Senju. One of the 3 Sannin and my godmother, though I didn't know it at the time. Tylee nods. Who are the others here? Pointing each out, Naruto tells her a bit about each. Hinata Hyuga. She was the heiress to the clan, though considered a failure she always strived to improve. She had a real problem with confidence though. I was rather oblivious in my childhood and completely missed her crush on me. She was too shy to confess though. Anytime I came too close she would blush then faint. Tylee giggles. Kiba Inazuka. His clan specialized in tracking and an animalistic taijutsu. They also worked with ninken who were bred to be stronger and smarter than normal dogs. Kiba was a good guy but kinda arrogant. Always believing himself an alpha as he put it. He was also a womanizer and a pervert. He had a crush on Hinata who ironically was about the only girl safe from his advances. They married soon after me and Samui. Shino Aburame. The Aburame clan specialized in bug jutsu. They were unique in that they were living colonies for their bugs who lived inside them. They communicated with them and used them to fight in exchange for their bugs feeding off the chakra. They were highly logical people and often were almost as intelligent as Inara. Though they were quiet and came off as creepy, they were loyal friends. Tylee grimaces. I don't think I could get past the bug thing. Naruto nods. Many felt the same and I always liked that they never held that against people. Actually, given what I was, the Aburame were rather sympathetic to me as a child even if they never showed it. Sakura Haruno. A clanless ninja from a civilian family. As smart as they come, this one, but sometimes a little slow on the uptake on some things if it's not in a book. For years you could class her as a fangirl though. She never trained and was always fawning over Sasuke. She was so obsessive that she would beat me over the head if I showed any talent or badmouthed him. Later she was found to have near-perfect chakra control because of her low reserves. She started to concentrate on her training more and gained an apprenticeship to Tsunade as a medic ninja. In the end she surpassed her master in every way. In the academy I had a crush on her but after the exams I let it go. She married Sasuke in the end as she always wanted. Tylee could hear anger in his voice but figured he would explain soon so kept her mouth shut. I already told you about the Nara so you can guess most of what I would say about Shikamaru. Though he was a great friend. He figured me out before anybody else. He was the first among us to make Chunin. When I sent for people to build a zoo he was one of the first to come and along with his future wife handled my accounts to pay for the whole thing. He married the sister of the Kazekage. Temari Sabaku. Smart woman, exceptional ninja, strong-willed and a woman who would beat you into the ground for suggesting otherwise. Besides myself, she was one of the strongest wind users of the time. Choji Akamaiki. Wow, he's fat. Naruto snorts. A clan trait. See Akamaiki Juubi, a form of jutsu which could expand their body either in part or as a whole to incredible size. His father could become as large as a biju. The problem is they burns a lot of energy and so they needed to eat nearly constantly. One thing you never say to an Akamaiki is that they are fat. Always big-boned or chubby or something. Say fat and you get flat is what they said. Tylee blushes. Mind out of the gutter he but yes I heard rumors to that effect from his future wife. Speaking of which, Ino Yamanaka. Another fangirl for Sasuke in the academy. Smart and similar to Sakura in most ways but less abusive and violent. Yamanaka were known as mind walkers because their jutsu worked on the mind. Most famously they could transfer their mind into another and take control of them or read their memories. It had its weaknesses though. Anything that happened to the possessed also happened to the body of the Yamanaka. Also, the body goes completely limp when in control of another. Hence the best combos of the Ino Shikacho team. Nara Shadow Jutsu to hold a team, Yamanaka to take control of another and turn them on their team and Akamaiki to flatten what's left. You could decimate an army with a combo like that. Naruto nods. And that's exactly what their fathers did and the origin of that team. Though officially they were a capture and interrogation team. Naruto shrugs. Neji Hyuga. Hinata's cousin and member of the Hyuga branch family. He was angry at the main family as a child and Hinata in particular. He even went so far as to try to kill her during the second phase of the Chunin exams. Why? Naruto shakes his head. The clan head had a twin. Hisashi was Neji's father. As a child, a Kumo ninja who was a diplomat attempted to kidnap Hinata. Hisashi killed him and Kumo demanded his head. Tylee finishes. But being his twin, they offered his brother up instead and that pissed off Neji. Naruto nods. There is more to it but that's the short of it. The branch family's duty is to protect the main. Each member of the branch is branded with a seal that can cause pain or death on command. On death it sealed and destroyed the eyes of the person it's on, thus denying Kumo the Byakugan they wanted. Byakugan. The Hyuga bloodline. One of what was called the three great Dojutsu. The others being the Sharingan and Rinnegan. In the third phase of the exams I beat Neji and changed his views on fate and he became a much better person for it. I also revoked the Hyuga's rights to the caged bird seal when I was exiled since it was an Uzumaki seal and it was my right. This is all a little over my head. He smirks. With time and training you will get it, but this is all information lost for millennia, so I'm not surprised. And now for Lee. Born with a genetic condition which affected his chakra coils and prevented him using his chakra for anything beyond the very basics. Instead he resolved to become a splendid ninja with just taijutsu like his teacher. Unfortunately, he became a carbon copy of him in almost every way and it was disturbing to say a lot. If Neji was considered a genius, Lee was considered a genius of hard work. During the second phase he shocked everybody when he removed his weights and caused a massive crater just dropping them. Second in speed only to his teacher at the time. Tenten Higurashi, another civilian born and daughter of the owner of Higurashi's weapon shop. She developed a love of weapons at a young age that could almost be described as treating them as lovers. Until she moved to Azu, she was known as the weapons mistress of Konoha. Nobody knew more about weapons. Not even the Hokage or Anbu. We often wondered if Tenten was a nickname because she hit with perfect 10 out of 10 accuracy. Beautiful, talented and a wonderful person. Lee could not have picked better than his teammate. Ty Lee smiled. She had a great admiration for her ancestor now. Last but not least, Sasuke Uchiha. The picture was slashed but the man in it screamed dignity and arrogance. Ty Lee did not like this man. Seems somebody formed a new hatred for him after I slept. Or one of his descendants. Anyway, as an Uchiha he was bred to be talented and strong but not humble. Arrogant and entitled as any, he had his choice of any girl his age and many older. Then his older and more talented brother massacred his clan and he grew worse for it. Pampered and angry. He swore revenge and that's a dangerous thing for an Uchiha. My teammate and rival at the time. After the exams he abandoned the village and turned traitor to go to Orochimaru for power. The Hokage ordered his capture and so a large group of his classmates including myself went after him. We encountered resistance in the Sound 5. A strong group of ninjas under the command of Orochimaru. My teammates took care of them as I chased Sasuke. I beat him and took him back to the village. A week later I was called to the council chambers. Seems the civilian council went over Tsunde's head to the daimyo. I was to be banished from Konoha. Of course, Sasuke had his chakra sealed and was neutered to prevent his goals and Orochimaru's as well. That pissed him off a lot. Naruto laughs which causes her to smile. She likes his laugh. I did something they never expected at that time. I smiled for only the second time that year. They screwed themselves over in the blind hatred. Ty Lee frowns again. I guess that's for later too. Naruto hugs her. Don't worry, I will tell you everything in time. She nods and smiles. Is this what you meant about healing Sasuke? Naruto smirks and nods. After becoming a god, I decided he deserved a second chance. He had changed a lot. Even going so far as to apologize to me. Something I never thought would happen. I healed him and later he and Sakura married. He even forgave his brother who married Shizune. Shizune. He points to a picture beside Tsunde's. Niece of Tsunde's dead lover and longtime assistant and keeper of the legendary sucker herself, Tsunde Senju. She was her first apprentice. Ty Lee snorts. Legendary sucker. What did she do to get that name? She had two passions. Drinking and gambling. Sadly, she only had talent in drinking. Anytime she gambled and won, bad things happened. As her debts rose and until she became Hokage, she earned that name across the 5 nations. Still better known as the legendary sucker than Pervy Sage or Orochipido. Pervy Sage. Orochipido. Naruto smirks. Pervy Sage or Jiraiya of the San and the Toad Sage was my godfather and teacher of my father. Though honestly, I still feel nothing for the man for what he did. Once again, a story for later. Orochipido or Orochimaru of the Sannin. Most infamous traitor to the leaf until Itachi. Had a reputation for liking little boys and with his snake-like nature and the way he spoke you could picture it whether it was true or not. Ty Lee giggles. Ninjas are weird. Naruto shrugs. Again, you have no idea. Continuing through the corridor they come to a dead end with a sealed door. Naruto wipes some blood on it and the door opens into the sunlight. Stepping out, Ty Lee looks back and after the door closes it changes to look like the rest of the wall of rock. More genjutsu. Close. Camouflage seal. Same concept though. And the seal. Blood seal. Will only unlock for me or my family unless I put somebody else's blood into the array. She nods. This is all so interesting. Hey, we're near my house. She looks to Naruto and sees he is crying. Hey, what's wrong? He looks at her and wipes his tears before smiling. Nothing serious. I suppose it was too much to expect an empire to last more than a couple thousand years. She frowns. What do you mean? A zoo. This island might have changed, but it's a zoo. My family's home. She hugs him. Sorry. Naruto hugs her back and cries again. Hey Tylee, who's the big baby? Your boyfriend. 5 other girls all giggle. Naruto stops crying and looks at them. Near identical each of them, he frowns. Bullies. He hates bullies. Speaking quietly so they don't hear. These girls your sisters. She nods. The girls all frown and the oldest scowls, having been ignored. She hates that. Looking so alike in a family so large, her parents did that a lot, so she became the boss. The eldest. She called for the most attention, and as the youngest and prettiest, Tylee was only a bug to be stepped on. How dare she ignore her? She marches up behind her and moves to grab her hair. Answer me, worm. Naruto grabs her hand and stops her. She makes her second mistake and looks him in the eye. Cold. In those eyes she saw death and pain, and in that order. She backed off. Yes, I am her boyfriend. I also don't appreciate your insensitivity to my pain or your bullying of your family. She snarls. What's it to you? Family is the most precious thing to me. See, I lived many years without one. Hated. Scorned. They tried and failed to kill me. Banished, I trained and became strong. I gained my family and I lived happy. So, to see somebody step on their family to me is anathema. Cherish your family, for one day you might not have one. As he spoke, she looked into his eyes, and as they changed shape for a moment, she saw images of his life and knew hell. The weight of his words hit her full force. As he walked away with Tylee, she was still on the ground and her sisters were asking if she was alright as she cried. What was that? I've never seen Janie cry. Naruto is a little out of breath. That was harder than he remembered, and Tylee notices. Sorry. That was something I needed to do, but it's draining in my condition. It's a jutsu executed through the eyes. But my dojutsu is sealed until I am strong enough to unlock it again. I refined it with Kurenai and Itachi and is based on the Uchiha Jutsu Tsukuyomi. As I spoke, she saw relevant parts of my life. Flashes mostly. Let's say it was not pretty. I only hope she takes the lesson to heart and learns the value of family. Tylee smiles and hugs him. Okay, where to next? Naruto smiles. A place that terrified me as a child. She looks confused. A library. She laughs and takes him to the island library. By the time they arrived, he had recovered. It's the oldest building on the island. It's said to be modeled after an ancient civilization. Naruto looks at it and grins. It's Uzumaki design. Really? Naruto nods. I'm surprised though, it's old Uzumaki. It's hard to make it look so nice without seals and expensive. Tazuna did it because he was a really talented builder. I wonder whatever happened to little Inari. They walked inside and Naruto smirked. So, what's first? Naruto laughs and rubs his hands in glee. You're in for a treat. My specialty jutsu. Naruto makes a cross with his fingers and over 100 copies of him appeared. Tylee's jaw hit the floor. WW what? Naruto frowns. My control must be shot worse than I thought. I could make double that the first time I used it. Tylee looks at him and he smiles at her. Shadow clone jutsu. Dividing the chakra evenly between clones, you can make a solid clone which has your memories and upon dispelling relays anything it sees or hears back to your mind. It's meant for recon and spying, but I can use it more than anybody else. I use it for training and reading a large amount all at once. He sees one clone goofing off and frowns. Tylee giggles as he walks up to it and bops it on the head and it puffs out of existence. Bruh, 1000 years and I never did figure out why some of them goof off like that. You said they have your memories, so do you think it's part of your personality? Naruto shakes his head. It was one theory, but then some of them did things I wouldn't be caught dead doing if my life would end a second later. I also thought it might be the Kyuubi's influence, but that was disproved as well. My only theory is it's a flaw in the jutsu itself because I can create so much more than the creator ever expected. Who created it? Tobirama Senju, the second Hokage. He also created the basic form for my father's most famous jutsu. The Hiraishin. Most of the jutsu in the Scroll of Seals were his or my father's creations. A genius but an idiot and a jerk too. She pouts. Sounds a little like Azula. Naruto chuckles. Funny you say that. He hated Uchiha more than most. That's saying a lot given the Senju and Uchiha were longtime rival clans constantly at war before the villages were formed. He hated them but he had so much in common with them. Ironic. And if this Azula is descended from Sasuke as I think then it's even more appropriate. Ty Lee practices yoga and acrobatics as Naruto meditates for 2 hours before Naruto smiles and watches her. You have great balance. She grins like he used to. Thanks. So how much have you read so far? Most of my clones are done. Only a couple remain who are reading up on history. I never was a fan of history. The people who are often are walking cures for insomnia. Strange thing is I'm getting conflicting information. Oh well. Ty Lee shrugs and her eyes lose some light. History is written by the victors as they say. Fire Nation thinks they are the best so a Fire Nation library will rewrite any history in it to fit them. Doesn't always work right though. Might have more luck getting accurate history in Earth Nation. Naruto places a map of the nations on the table and shows her how much has changed. Looks like the continent broke and the land masses had a massive shift. Ty Lee frowns. This is a 1,000-year-old map and it's still pretty accurate from what I know. Is it really that different? Naruto unseals a map from his seals and compares it. Very. Fire Nation drifted far west. Lightning and most smaller nations absorbed into stone and became earth. Water split north and south which put Azu within fire. And wind split east and west. Became air. Almost like something changed the way the world works, and the spirits took exception and divided the world. A change like that unless it happened over 1,000 years or more or was planned for would kill off millions. Humans would have been an endangered species. Ty Lee nods. They were before the time of the Avatar. Most think it's all just a load of crap though. I don't think the Avatar even knows the legends giving credence to such things. Naruto nods. No telling what carries over in a cycle of rebirth like that. Orochimaru would have killed for that kind of power and I know for a fact he did. Shaking himself from dark thoughts he packs up and faces Ty Lee. Alright I've ready to leave. Where do you think we should go? Tapping her chin in thought Ty Lee considers. Well Air Nation is gone, and Water Nation is a bit reclusive these days. Fire Nation is a bit close to home for me right now so why not head into Earth Nation? Naruto nods. Got anything you need to do before we leave? She frowns. I should pack and, I might not like them but I should say goodbye to my sisters. Naruto smiles. Family is important even if you don't like them. I'm liking you more and more. Ty Lee blushes. Almost at sunset they arrive at Ty Lee's home. Naruto waits outside as she packs. Just as she is almost done Janie walks in and frowns. What are you doing? Leaving. With him. You just met him. Sure. He's cute but what do you even see in him anyway? Well gee let's see. Smart, confident, talented, strong, and most important not afraid of my family. Janie looks down in shame. I haven't been a good sister. I know, but I can't just let you leave with him. You don't even know him. Ty Lee walks up to her sister and hugs her. I will always love you, but this is my choice. Bye Janie. Ty Lee rushes out the door with Janie behind her. If you won't listen to me then you leave me no choice. I will challenge him. Naruto frowns. Why? She's my sister. She doesn't know you. How can we be sure you can protect her? She may trust you but are you strong enough to keep her safe? Show me. Naruto smiles. Is her style the same as yours? Yeah, I'm more agile and flexible but she's stronger. Naruto smirks. Strength is not always best. Stepping forwards he slips into a stance none of them have ever seen before. Janie slips into the family stance before rushing at him but even in his weakened state she is moving in slow motion to him. What follows is not a challenge or a fight but a beatdown. Stepping into a spin he swings his arms in a spiral taking out her footing before striking her arms. He transitions into a flip and slams his foot into her gut leaving her in a crater dazed and weak. Him loosely based on the Goken. I was right about your ancestry. Rock Lee would be ashamed of how slow you were and Tenten would be ashamed of your disrespect, but both would be proud of your love for your family. When next you see Ty Lee you will hardly recognize her. She will be far stronger than you can imagine. Until then I will protect her that I promise. And an Uzumaki never goes back on their word. As they walk away Ty Lee asks. I've never seen anything like that. What was it? Azuken. Spiral fist. My mother developed it and it made her feared. My Togai was her student and adapted the Goken from it, sacrificing lateral mobility for strength and speed. Only an Uzumaki can handle the true Azuken, so he made the Goken in its image. Your family style is loosely based on the Goken, as I said, with other elements mixed in. Seems like so much we should be thankful from your family and friends. That's what happens when you save and change the world. But even in my time I noticed prominent figures influenced things even after death. The first Hokage, for example. He was the reason the village system even existed. That makes sense. Well, it's a little late to catch a boat right now and I would rather not go back, so what now? Nearing the pier, Naruto smirks. Watch. Going through hand signs, he slams his hands into the sand and a wooden house forms before their eyes. Wow, is there anything you can't do? He laughs. At full power not much, but yeah, there will always be something I can't do. For example, I'm extremely impatient. I guess it's an Uzumaki trait, but apparently, I'm worse than my mother was. I got better, but I still find it hard to sit still. She grins. I can relate. He nods as they walk inside. That's Lee's influence. Even when Gaara broke his spine and crushed an arm and a leg as soon as he could move, he was doing one-armed push-ups. She giggles, then gasps as she sees the house. Wow. I know people who would kill for a house like this. It's simple but has a nice feel to it and it's roomy. He nods. Wood style is heavily influenced by nature, so a house made by it always feels like that. Come on. Wait till you see the bedrooms. She blushes. You mean we aren't sleeping together? Naruto raises an eyebrow. Well, Tylee, aren't we feeling forward? She shakes her head. Not like that. I just never had a boyfriend before. I want to cuddle. Naruto hugs her and kisses her head. It's fine. I was just kidding. If you feel comfortable enough for that, then sure. Next morning, they are woken by loud knocking on the door and Naruto groans. Never was a morning person. Tylee giggles. Pack your stuff, I expect that's somebody upset about us being here. She nods and picks up her pack before joining him at the door. He opens it to find a pair of Fire Nation soldiers. Can I help you? This land belongs to the Fire Lord. Why have you built this house here? Sorry, I was not aware. Step back a moment and I will rectify that. Narrowing his eyes, the soldiers do as asked before their eyes widen. The house shrinks and then disappears into the sand like it's growing backwards. Dusting his hands, he smiles. Sorry for the inconvenience. We'll be heading out now. Before he is even 10 steps away, the soldier calls out to stop and he groans. Yes. Why don't you join the Fire Nation army? We could always use strong people. Naruto scowls. Many reasons. First, because I am not a firebender and as such, no matter how strong or useful I am, I will always be looked down on and kept away from power. I hate that. Second, because I hold a grudge against the Fire Lord's grandfather. Third, because everything I have learned about the Fire Nation as a whole disgusts me. He begins to walk away until a fireball blasts past his head. If you are against the Fire Nation, then you are an enemy. Growling, he turns to the man. What will it take for you to leave me alone? I challenge you to an Agnakai. A what? The second soldier sweet drops and turns to Tylee. Is he serious? Not wanting to explain, she shrugs. Most of the time, Agnakai is a fire duel. A means for settling disputes in a one-on-one setting. Mostly used by high-ranking officers and royal family members to regain honor after being slandered, but it's not uncommon for it to happen in lower ranks. Naruto nods in understanding. And it doesn't matter if I am not a bender as long as I fight and knock him on his ass. She nods. More or less the point. The second soldier frowns. He is acting like this is no problem. Is he that good? You know Janie. He nods. Doesn't everybody on Ember Island? She smirks. She challenged him yesterday. He frowns more. How did he do? Beat her in less than 2 seconds and made it look easy. She didn't even get close to touching him. Left her in a crater. The man pales under his mask, then grins. This might be fun to watch then. Tylee giggles. You don't like your friend much, do you? Shaking his head. He's no friend. His dad is a big shot general and it's gone to his head. I can't stand him at the best of times, but he is a talented bender. Tylee narrows her eyes as Naruto adopts a stance like her own and the firebender throws a fireball at him. Naruto dodges it and rushes the man, kicking him under the chin many times. each kick knocking him further into the air before Naruto shoots of the ground behind the man, wrapping him up in bandages and together into a twister, crashing headfirst into the sand. Naruto flips backwards into his stance and the man is unconscious. Is that how he beat Janie? No, he used something else, but this was just as impressive. I don't think he likes to waste time in a fight unless he's having fun. The man nods. Talented fighter. Hey Naruto, what was that? It looked similar to my style. Was that Goken? He nods. Yup. Goken style primary lotus. By opening the first chakra gate, it triples your speed and power and allows the use of primary lotus. In any other environment that impact would have killed him, but soft sand like this, the worst he will have is a sore neck and a headache when he wakes up. As the soldier drags his comrade away, she grins. Gonna teach me that? Sure. When you're ready. The gates are considered kinjutsu because they put a lot of strain on the body. Opening all 8 will make you equal to a god, but it will cost you your life. Kinjutsu. Forbidden jutsu. It's not like it sounds. Only 1 or 2 jutsu were ever considered truly forbidden because of moral reasons. They are kinjutsu because of the cost. Either high chakra like my shadow clone, damage to the body like the 8 celestial gates, or death like the Reaper death seal. That's how my father died, if you were curious. When do we start training? When we reach the Earth Nation. I need to retrain some of my skills as well, so we need somewhere we won't attract too much attention or cause damage, so a boat isn't an option. She nods and they head to the pier to book a ferry. The ride takes a week in which they get to know each other quite well. Naruto tells her of the history of ninja and what they did. Some of it shocking her a little, but not too much. She tells him of her family in the Fire Nation. He's glad to know it's not all bad. After another week, they reach an isolated valley far from any town and begin their training. Naruto with chakra control and redrawing his resistance seals as they seem to have worn off over time. With Tylee he set to unlocking her chakra, which took her almost no time with her knowledge of the human body, and chi, which was the new name for chakra. A different energy, but the workings were the same and he believed it would work no differently. After unlocking her chakra or chi, he had her working on the first control exercise of leaf balancing. It took her a day, but she got it well. Niece. It took me a month to learn that. Really? Why? More chakra means less control and less means more. Sakura, for example, had small reserves and perfect control. I could sling jutsu all day, but she could cast one with far less chakra. Does that mean I won't ever have a lot of chakra? He shakes his head. No. Like anything, you can train it. The more you use it, the more you will get back. Also, you don't actually have chakra like I do. You have chi. Is it different? He shrugs. Feels different. Different energy, but the pathways are the same and it seems to work the same, so I see no reason not to just call it chakra. The leaf balancing exercise is proof of that. If it didn't work the same, it would never work. Think of it this way. If it works exactly the same, you might be able to use multiple elements like me. You would be the first besides the Avatar in thousands of years. Her eyes widen. Really? Cool. Naruto grins at her enthusiasm. In Konoha, one of the requirements for Junin rank was mastery over 2 or more elements. Only a few were exceptions, like the Hyuga, who didn't do conventional jutsu. So what elements were there? Well, the base elements everybody was capable of learning were earth, wind, fire, water, and lightning. Then there was the sub-elements. Sub-elements. What's that? Keki Genkai or bloodlines. Like the Byakugan. He nods. Some bloodlines allowed a dojutsu, other did things like allow a person to absorb nature energy, turning them into a super-powered berserk monster. Or make you super fast. Turn to smoke. Then there was the sub-elements. The first one I ever heard of was wood style, though it wasn't the first one I ever saw. You use wood style, don't you? He nods. What other ones are there? Well, to name a few. Ice, boil, lava, explosion and crystal are some of the more interesting. Why are they called sub-elements? Because they need more than one element to use them. They are bloodlines because you can only use one element at once. To combine them in your body you need a bloodline. Wood, for example, is earth and water. Ice is water and wind. Crystal is earth and lightning. Lava is earth and fire, and boil is fire and water. She nods. What was the first one you saw if not wood? He smiles at the memory and tells her of his first C-rank mission to Wave. Wow, Haku seems like a nice girl. Wait, isn't she one of the girls in the hall I entered from? He nods. My first wife had no problem sharing, and I had a lot of girls who loved me then. Not crushes either. I made it known that some we always comes first, but they just wanted to be with me. Hey, some we changed their minds though when she got kinky. No girl was ever purely straight after she got through with them. Tylee blushes. Why did Haku claim to be a boy? Naruto scratches his head. Well, Zabuza was never much of a girl person and she didn't want to trouble him with that. Besides, one of the biggest fears for a kunoichi was capture and rape. So, pretending to be a boy made it less likely. Why would people do that? He shrugs. I'm not saying it's right, but it happened. There were worse fates, of course. I'm almost afraid to ask, but like. Breeders. Remember what I told you about Hinata being kidnapped by Kumo? She nods. While the eyes can be transplanted, they will never work as well in somebody who is not a Hyuga. Kumo wanted a Hyuga girl to use as a breeder to bring the Byakugan to their forces. They tried it with my mother too until my father rescued her. Tylee growls. Disgusting. Maybe, but it's military tactics to take a weapon and make it yours. To them the ends were justified. Thankfully, after the Hyuga incident, Kumo lost trust in the third Raikage and had him executed. The fourth was a bit of a brute, but he was a much better person and that practice ended. All that makes me glad such things died out with the shinobi of this war would be a lot worse. Tylee relaxes. Tomorrow I will start you on the next exercise. I want you to master it before I teach you the 3 Academy Jutsu. What's the next exercise? Naruto smirks and walks to a tree before slowly walking up the trunk and standing under a branch upside down. Wow. A week later, Naruto is smiling at Tylee as she stands on water trying to keep her balance. Niece. You know, for most people getting to this stage takes months, but you've done it in a week. You have talent. She grins at him and promptly falls in the water, causing him to laugh. As she reaches the shore, he hands her a towel and smiles. Don't worry. Do it enough and it becomes second nature. Really? I can't picture that. He raises an eyebrow. Why not? You do things every day without thinking. You know how to throw a punch, but do you ever have to think about it while you are doing it? How about breathing? She looks at him in surprise, then frowns thinking of that. Shrugging, she smiles. Okay, what's next? He grins. My favorite subject. Ninjutsu. After a full month of avoiding people and towns, Tylee's training was coming along nicely. Naruto's chakra control was improving up to his standards once more and they were ready to begin hunting for work. They come across a small bar in a Fire Nation outpost. Himpervy Sage always said the best place to find a lead or information was either a brothel or a bar. Since I'm not really into the brothel thing, let's get a drink. Tylee snorts. Personally, I got nothing against brothels, but I'm not into the kinds of people you find there. Naruto smiles and puts a hand around her waist. Would it surprise you to know I was practically raised by the women in the red light district? She raises an eyebrow. Yeah, it would. But then it's not the kind of thing that would appear in legends. Sometimes the devil wears nice clothing. A rather scary woman grins next to them at the bar. Then you know people well. Sometimes the best people are found dirty in the gutter. He laughs. You paint a pretty picture. I would have said the truth is found in darkness, but then I developed a poetic streak some time ago. She smirks. I'm June. Naruto shakes her hand. Naruto. This is Tylee. We're mercenaries looking for work. I'm a bounty hunter myself, but I dabble in merc work when I can't find a worthwhile job. There's plenty of it around Earth Nation. What's your specialty? Assassin. Bodyguard. Espionage. Personally, I'm good with anything, though I stay away from assassination if I don't think the victim deserves it or it doesn't serve a higher purpose. Tylee is just starting out, so I would take a few bodyguard or capture bounties first. Just to be clear, what do you mean by higher purpose? You aren't a religion nut, are you? All that praise be to the almighty log idiots. He snorts and Tylee giggles. Nope. I just mean if killing one guy can save 100 or an entire nation, even if he's a really nice guy, he's dead. A man of principles then. Naruto's eyes darken for a moment and Tylee knows he is remembering a bad memory. No. Just killed too many innocents under orders from people who had no business giving orders. I sleep better knowing I saved more lives than I took. A man with regrets then. I can relate. Anyway, in every town and city you go to there will be a board with jobs on it. Often in places like this. It's in the corner behind you. Naruto downs his drink and sets the money on the counter. Thanks. As they walk away, June frowns. Too bad he's taken. Seems like my kinda guy. What do you think? The bartender nods. He's going to make some waves. Seems more experienced than he looks and had the look of a veteran war hero even though he looks like he's no older than 25. Good guy to make a friend and best to avoid making an enemy. She nods as they look at the board. Yeah, that's the feeling I got too. With Naruto. What's this thing about the almighty log? He chuckles. You heard me reference Kami at some point, right? She nods. Kami is a goddess though she doesn't live in the mortal realm like me. The log is a mortal concept and it seems the joke took on a more religious ideal. She cocks her head. Shinju was a tree before he was absorbed by a mortal. Once shinobi developed the replacement jutsu and started using it on logs, people used to joke about praising the almighty log. Nobody ever could explain why a log could still be used even if there was no wood around, so the joke went even further over time. Shinju used to say he was flattered though it took me a while to understand why. Now 4,000 years later and some things are not what they were. I find it amusing that one thing changed so little and yet is still just as funny. You looked like you were in a dark place. You okay? Fine. Just bad memories. Hey, 1,000 years gives as much of both good and bad if you can believe it. She smiles brightly. You know if you ever need to talk. Naruto kisses her on the cheek. Thanks. Looking at the board he frowns. June is right. There is a lot of work here. Not all of it good work. Well, at least we have enough there to have a choice. He smiles. When I began my training in order to avoid people I didn't wish to see until ready I used an alias. I think it might be a good idea to take it up again. Really? What was it? Baradasupiraru. Blood spiral. Seems a little dark. He nods. It was a dark time. My first training location was a civil war that had been going on since before I was born. I chose it because I was going to be spilling blood and I was a proud Uzumaki. She nods and smiles. What about me? A name that inspires fear in an enemy to be inflicted by those you would protect. Kurimuzen no Akumu. The Crimson Nightmare. In fact, I have a gift for you. Naruto hands her a mask like Kakashi's, only blood red with golden rose thorns embroidered in it. She holds it in her hands and smiles. Beautiful and scary all at once. He nods. Something my mother would appreciate. Wear it proudly except when we are alone. It's to strike fear but also to hide our identities from those who know us. Like Azula or Mai. She puts the mask on, and he holds a mirror out to her. She gasps at what she sees. A seal I put in the mask. It doesn't change anything. Just an illusion. What do you think? She now has golden eyes that are slitted like a cat with blood red hair in twin tails filled with senbon. Like a crimson rose. Beautiful. He smirks. I modeled that illusion after a few of my friends. The hair color is my sister Karen's. The ponytails are Sunid's. The senbon was an idea I pulled from Haku. The eyes are a mix between Yugito Ni and my own Shinjugen. To anybody who doesn't know of it, your voice will also sound different. Did you put one on your mask? He nods and pulls up his mask. His appearance doesn't change much except his hair and eyes. His eyes become crimson and slitted. Think Juubi, and his hair swoops back into spikes resembling a dragon's head. His mask also has 3 lines on each cheek resembling a fox's whiskers. Cool. June walks up behind him and nods. Agreed, it's a nice look. Thanks. So, you two pick a job yet? He nods. Tracking down and capturing a serial rapist. He's been working for a while and recently targeted a nobleman's daughter, so the bounty is well worth the trouble. Besides, I hate rapists even more than I hate bullies. Dead or alive. Yeah, but alive fetches double the bounty and is more of a challenge. I like that. Besides, Tylee could use the experience. Or should I call her Kurimuzen no Akumu? June whistles appreciation. Nice name. By why the aliases? Tylee has some high-profile friends, we would rather not find her until she is ready. On the run. Tylee shakes her head. Not really. Just avoiding them until I am more confident in myself. So bossy friends who think they know what's best or want to rope you into something you hate. I can respect that. I'll keep your secret. Thanks, June. She waves it off. Mind if I join you? I'm curious about you too and I'd like to see how you work. Tylee looks at Naruto and he nods. Sure. As they exit the bar, Naruto sees an animal he has never seen. Ah, that's Nyla. She's a Shirshu. Blind, but they see smells. They can find anyone as long as they know the scent. Loyal and vicious to those who they don't know. Poison barbs in the tongue that contain a paralytic. I got her for a bounty a few years ago from a rare animal collector. I skinned him after and released his animals after. Nyla has been a dear friend ever since. Naruto smiles and walks right up to her, causing June to almost panic until Nyla simply rubs her head against his hand and whimpers. Wow, that's never happened. Every animal recognizes a friend and alpha. To her, I am kin and brother just as you are mistress and sister. June smiles and mounts her. You guys have a ride. Naruto turns to Tylee and she giggles. Kurimuzen no Akumu Kai. Tylee nods and holds up a ram sign. Release. Turning off her resistance seals, she feels lighter than ever. She turns to June and grins under her mask. Keep up if you can. She then takes off through the trees at a speed that shocks June, and Naruto laughs. You get used to things like that around me. He runs after Tylee and June smiles. This is going to be interesting. After a couple days tracking their target, they set up camp. Tylee and June are talking about their pasts while Naruto is off on his own when they hear an explosion and run to the source. They walk up to the site of the explosion to find Naruto sitting in a small smoking crater with a scorched hand, muttering about fucked up control and stupid comets and fire-sucking assholes. Naruto, are you alright? He looks at him and frowns before healing his hand, causing a raised eyebrow from June. Sorry, yeah. Just trying out a few. One I want most though is difficult without control and is frustrating me. I've seen a few of your jutsu but never anything that causes damage on this level. He nods. It's one of my father's. He designed it based on the tailed beast bomb. You remember when I told you about that? She nods. A Bijuu's most powerful attack. Can wipe out a city in a moment. Yeah, the Rasengan is a smaller replica. He casts an illusion to show them an image of Jiraiya showing him the attack as a child. June asks him if that was his father and he laughs. Thank Kami, no. That was Jiraiya. He was Dad's teacher and later mine. Also, my no-good super perverted godfather. Tylee frowns and sits next to him. You've told me about him but never with that kind of anger in your voice. What do you mean by no good? He looks at her with a tear in his eye and sighs. I suppose it is time I told you about my childhood, isn't it? Should I leave? This seems kind of private. He shakes his head. It's fine. You might not believe what I have to say anyway. Best sit. It's a long and unhappy story. He begins telling them the history of shinobi until he was born, including the origin of chakra and the Bijuu. Shinobi is what we were. Tools of the village to serve the whim of our cage who served the people. We were a weapon. Me more than most, but the people didn't understand. My father hoped I would be seen as a hero, but instead I was seen as a monster. A demon in human form. The Juubi. I was born on the same day it attacked the village you see. My parents died sealing it, and the Hokage told them the beast was sealed away by the fourth, but as much as they revered him, they believed a child's mind could not hold such a demon at bay, and so to them I was the demon. I lived as an orphan for the first 4 years, being abused by the matrons and the other children, though they didn't know why. The law forbade anybody telling the children of me under pain of death. Because of who my father was, I wasn't to know who my parents were either, for fear his enemies might target me. If you think that's bad, it gets worse. He casts a genjutsu to illustrate his life. At 4 years they tossed me out on the street. If a demon can walk and talk, then he can live on his own, they said. I spent another 4 years eating garbage until the Ichirakas found me. Tuki and Ayami were kind to me when others were not. She bathed me and treated me as a brother. Tuki as a son. For years I ate there at their little shack. They were my first precious people. I didn't know me eating there was driving away their other customers, and they were in bad debt. 12 years old. They were approached by a mob of people offering to pay off the debts and keep them in business if they helped drug me. Upon the understanding I would not be hurt more than a few bruises and scrapes, they agreed. Though Ayami was unaware, I was taken away to a dark room and strapped to a table and stripped. Once I woke, they began. Poison, burns, cuts, even acid. They tortured me for hours. When I passed out, they would let me heal with the demon's help, then when I woke, they began again. Only once they had enough did they try to kill me. By then the Anbu had come and killed them. I found out later Ayami had sent them. But it was too late. I later forgave them, but never again did I trust them. I stopped eating ramen altogether. Hey, as it turns out, that was good, as it was keeping me a shrimp. During the academy, I was still the happy idiot. Every friend I made, with the exception of a few, betrayed me and got me hurt or in trouble. Over time, I grew cold. I still felt, but I distanced myself and showed nothing. It intimidated many. I found it worked for me well. Then after graduation, I found out why they hated me. I found out about the Juubi sealed in me. I still held hope though. Hope in a few. That changed after the Chunin exams. Orochimaru was a criminal of the leaf and broke into Mark Sasuke. He put a 5-element seal on me to disrupt my chakra. He screwed up though. It gave the Shinju enough time to take hold of its power and awaken in me. After the second phase, the first thing he did was tell me of my parents. I was angry that day and everybody knew it. Kakashi had refused to train me. The Hokage was refusing to answer me as to why he hid my parents from me. My only hope for training was a joke of a perverted Junin. Didn't know that I would meet Jiraiya that day though. Skipping ahead to the finals. In the last round, Sasuke was facing Gaara, who was a Jinchuriki with a faulty seal. His Biju had driven him all but mad. Soon as the fight became interesting, the invasion began. I chased after Gaara with my team as the Hokage fought Orochimaru. I beat Gaara and in the process changed his mind on the meaning of true power. Eventually he became the Kage of his village and a good friend, but it would be years before I learned of that. Meanwhile, the Hokage died fighting his student. Not a lot happened for a few months besides the mission to retrieve Tsunade to become Hokage. It was nearly a year later when Sasuke went nuts and left the village to go to Orochimaru for power. I was assigned to a team to capture him and I succeeded, but this would be the final betrayal. The civilian council went to the daimyo and had him banish me from the leaf. I was happy to leave though. I took back everything I inherited from my parents and left with a small squad of people I knew I could trust, courtesy of Tsunade. They were to train and protect me for 5 years, then choose either to stay with me or return to the leaf. He spent the night telling them both of his journey for the power to survive and ending with his sleep. By the end, June was angry and Ty Lee was in his lap hugging him. Perverts I can live with as long as they don't touch me, but abandoning a child is unacceptable. And what that village did. Bruh, what happened to the leaf anyway? Once the nations united under Azu, everything became peaceful. Ninja became peacekeepers and emergency services. The leaf prospered once more, and all was good. Content, everything would stay that way for a long time. I slept in the knowledge I would wake for any significant conflict. Ty Lee nods. But Sozin had other plans. Naruto nods. Sealed me as I slept. Sealed my power in a passing comet he then used to start his war. And then you found me, Ty Lee. The rest you know. He kisses her head and smiles. Nearest I can tell, the old leaf village and land of fire became the Fire Nation. The capital being built over the remains of the leaf itself. I do wonder if Konohamaru ever did become Hokage like he dreamed though. I lost track of what was happening in the leaf for those first 100 years or so, trying to settle down conflicts. You said Ty Lee was descended from 2 of your own friends. Do you know if I am? I've never known family, so I'm curious. Naruto smirks. Why do you think I trust you, June? She frowns. I don't know. You probably shouldn't. He grins. Anko once said the same. I see so much of her in you. Ty Lee gasps and covers her mouth. What? Am I missing something? Naruto told me of her. Anko Matarashi. Snake summoner. Interrogation and assassination specialist. Poison expert. Naruto's teacher and close friend and later lover. She was one of the women who his first wife allowed into their bed. The first, in fact. If you are descended from her, then. Naruto nods and smiles. Hello, June Matarashi Uzumaki, child of my children. June didn't know what to say. Her whole world was just shattered. I have family. I have to admit. I'm not sure how to react to that. I guess the right way would be to hug you, but I'm not a hugging person. He smirks. Anko wasn't either, unless it was sexual or to make somebody uncomfortable. Just take it as it is and know you have somebody to talk to if you need it. She smiles and they all go to sleep for the night. 3 days later they found their target in a small town about halfway to Omashu. Worse, he was stalking a woman and seemed about to strike again. You remember your targets. Ty Lee nods and takes a handful of senbon. Disable legs, then arms, and finally knock him out. Careful of the arteries in the neck on the last. He nods and tells her to go while he and June watch from a hill nearby. What is she going to do? She specializes in a martial arts style that attacks the nerves and makes bending useless. The same can be applied to anybody though. I knew a girl once who did the same thing with senbon needles, and that's what Tylee is learning now. She's talented. Sounds useful. Haku could put a person so close to death as to fool anybody, then after a week recovery they would be fine. She's not even close to that yet, but she will be someday. So, you are taking her strengths and refining them based on what you know of similar styles. Things don't always get better with time. Take her fighting style. It's based on a fusion of Goken and Juuken. Yet it's not nearly as good as either. That's not her skill, that's the problem, but dilution of the styles through time. Ah, there she goes. Damn, she was too slow. He already revealed himself to his target. This might make our exit louder than I'd like. 2 minutes later, Naruto and June are standing outside an alleyway as the victim is hugging Tylee and crying her eyes out. The rapist is on the ground unconscious. Naruto checks him over and finds him alive but knocked out. Nicely done, Kurimuzen no Akumu. You are improving fast. The woman squeaks at the sound of a new voice but calms down when Tylee explains he is her partner. Are you alright, mom? Why, yes. This young lady stopped him before he could do anything to me. Thank you. He nods. Just doing our job. Do you need any help to get home? I'll be fine. What's going to happen to him? June speaks up. He's a serial rapist we've been tracking. There is an outpost a day's ride from here where we can turn him in. He'll likely get the rope for his crimes. She nods and sighs in relief. Naruto grins sadistically under the mask. Would you like to see this man in fear before we take him? Might bring you some peace of mind. She looks curious and then nods. Naruto pulls the senbon out of his neck and hits another nerve to wake him. The woman squeaks again. Don't worry. He's awake but he can't move. What have you done to me, bastards? Let me go. Naruto looks the man in the eye. You know, I once had friends known as the Ice Queens. They were known as that because they were notorious for turning down the advances of men. They were also known for another trait though. They would brutalize any pervert or rapist they found. They are long since dead, but wouldn't you know it? My friend here is a descendant of one of them. Don't worry though, she's not been trained in her ancestors' ways yet. But that doesn't mean you are safe. Naruto casts a genjutsu on the man to make him see and experience one of the worst beatings he ever saw the Ice Queens pull on a man. He was screaming like a girl and crying like a child until he lost consciousness again. What did you do? Naruto looks at the victim. I made him see an old memory of mine. The worst beating I ever witnessed from the Ice Queens. It was so bad even I had a small bout of sympathy for the rapist in question, but that passed quickly. It will be the last thing that goes through his mind before he dies. See, some memories are so powerful that you feel them long after they are gone. I'm not normally a cruel person, but good. Naruto nods and takes the man with June and Tylee following. None of them knew it, but their reputation had just begun. 2 days later they were walking out of the outpost with their reward and Naruto was confused. The money here is different, but if I was to guess I would say we just got an equal amount to an S-class criminal when I would have called him C-class at best. S-class. He nods. Ninja villages rank things on a lettering system. E to A. Lower the letter the stronger you need to be to handle it. Only Junin or Anbu were allowed to take on S-class by choice. Anything above S-class was run on sight. A rank only my father and I ever achieved. An S-class criminal was strong enough to destroy a village full of ninja on their own. Only another S-class ninja or a large group of a class could match them. The jutsu I have taught you so far are all E and D class. Things an academy student or genin learns early. The jutsu you found me working on the other night was a class. Seems with most of my power sealed I can only use up to B class for now, and that tires me. Like the illusion you used on my sister. He shakes his head. That was C class, but my control was shot far worse than now at that point, and the jutsu requires access to my Shinjugen, which is still sealed. Remember what I told you about chakra control. More chakra means less control. More control means you use less to do the same job. He nods. Good. This is all over my head. Tylee grins. It was for me at first too. Don't worry, I have some ideas for training for you, June. In the meantime, we have enough money to live on for a little bit, and we know we can live off less if we need to. Let's go find a clothing shop first. Tylee could use a change in style, I think. You were right about mercs and exotic clothing. Then we find a nice place to train. You don't like my clothes? He smirks. No, I love them, but they aren't quite suitable for this line of work. She shrugs. True. They found a shop that does custom orders, and after a wait they left with a few copies of Tylee's new outfit. A form-fitting navy blue bodysuit. Tight pants of Anbu style, which the shopkeeper was confused by until Naruto showed her the design of a pair of his boots similar to Naruto's without the spikes. A black leather breastplate and fingerless gloves. She loved the look, and so did June. Sexy, practical and dangerous. I love it. It also has a hint of fun in it which suits you perfectly. I am a little surprised they were able to make it so fast though. It's never been a common design even when I had mine made. Tylee grins under her mask. They seemed happy for the challenge though. Said something about designing for heroes. Naruto creases his eyebrows. Word travels fast even now. Well, that might mean we get asked for by name soon, which means more money and tougher jobs. We aren't ready for that though. Tylee nods. Maybe soon. Come on, let's go find a training spot. They all nod agreement and leave the town to find a secluded area. 1 week later. Well done, June. You completed the tree walking a lot faster than I did, even with good-sized reserves. As she hangs from a branch, she frowns. I have that much. Naruto nods. Tylee is descended mostly from clanless ninja with low reserves, which makes control easy for her, but massive chakra reserves is an Uzumaki trait. It's been diluted a bit, but you have more chakra than Sasuke did when we learned this, and you did it in half the time. Yeah, you said something about that. How more chakra means less natural control. I take it the point of this is to train that control though. He nods. Among other things. Besides that, it can help build your reserves and it's a useful skill. How's that? Say you need to get into a building quietly and the only unguarded entry is on the roof. How do you get there? She nods. Walking up the wall. I see. Are there any more control exercises? Yeah. Besides designing one on your own, there is water walking and kunai balancing. Before we get onto those though, come down. I want to check something. She walks down the tree and stands in front of him. Tylee, you too. She gets up from her yoga and joins them. What's up? Remember what I told you about there being 5 basic elements anybody can learn to use? Fire, water, wind, earth and lightning, right? He nods. Well, while anybody can learn them, each person is going to find certain elements easier than others. That's called affinity. You can gain more affinities the more you use an element, but at first most people only have 1 or 2. This paper here is a secret of an old Konoha clan called litmus paper. I made some earlier as thankfully the ingredients are still easy to find. Each of you channel some chakra into it. Tylee does so and the paper burns and half of it soaks. June does it and the paper crumples. Tylee tilts her head and pouts. What does this mean? Naruto smiles. Tylee, you have fire and water. That's good. Fire is a useful but heavily offensive element. And water denotes flexibility and versatility. It's highly defensive but can also be used to attack. And me. Lightning. Next to wind, it's the most offensive element there is. Lightning is a piercing element and is only weak to wind. Some of the strongest jutsu are lightning. You can also use it to paralyze or stun your enemies. I was actually hoping you would have lightning, as I have a great jutsu for it that would suit you well once you are ready for it. She looks at him expectantly. Raiten, lightning whip. Holding his pointer and middle finger erect, an arc of lightning erupts from them in a rope-like fashion. He then raises the hand and sends the whip at a nearby boulder and it wraps around before it is pulled at him. He shoves an electrified hand through the boulder, shattering it. Whoa, he smirks. I forgot to mention lightning can be used to augment your body speed, power and perception. The technique is called lightning armor and was a personal jutsu of the 4th Raikage. Dangerous though if used too much or if you don't channel it right. When can I learn those? Lightning whip when you master water walking. Armor not until you can produce 10 shadow clones and have mastered kunai balancing. Years at least. Shadow clones. Tylee, could you demonstrate a clone please? Tylee forms a hand sign and a single clone stands next to her. That's the E-rank clone technique. It's just an illusion with no mind of its own. Think of it like a mirror image without the mirror. Shadow clone is B rank and is a solid clone with all your memories. It's a Junin skill. Still, with your reserves you could probably learn to make one or two within a couple years. But I would rather teach you together, so we will wait until Tylee is ready. June nods. Sounds fair. How long are we going to train before the next job? I was thinking about a week for now. I want you to learn the Academy 3 jutsu like Tylee, and I want to work on her aim and taijutsu as well a little. Last thing before we leave, I will paint some resistance seals on you. What's that? Remember when we started out when I took off so fast? I had my seals on about 2 weeks. I was already fast, but they make it feel like you are wading through dense mud all the time. You get stronger and faster just having them active. When you turn them off, it's like you go from mud to being thrown through the air with no resistance. It's a little disorientating at first though. Naruto nods. It's best to turn them off on a regular basis to avoid that. 2 years later, slowly Naruto's strength was returning and Tylee and June were rapidly getting stronger and more skilled. Tylee had learned the great fireball and water gun jutsus along with a host of defensive water jutsu, as she seemed to like that role better, and June mastered lightning whip to the point she needed no hand signs, which she was justifiably proud of. June had also grown so fast as to not need Nyla anymore, but she would never abandon her friend, so she stayed with them. Besides, Naruto said there would always be a need for a strong tracker and her paralytic was useful. He said even if that wasn't the case, she would still be welcome as a friend. June respected him even more after that. Recently they had been hearing rumors going around that Zuko and his uncle were banished and were chasing down the Avatar. It also seemed Azula was after Zuko because their father was embarrassed by the constant failures. Naruto was disgusted. He had a feeling 100 years of planning was about to come to a head, and the comet's return was proof enough in his mind. Tylee, are you ready to face your friends? She frowns sadly. I'm not looking forward to it, but yeah. Something you got in mind? He nods. Something is coming, and the only ones who know exactly what and who is worth saving are the royal family. Soon I expect Zuko to track us down to help him find the Avatar. I want you to get close to Azula and find out the Fire Lord's plans. Judge them if you feel up to it. The Fire Lord is not worth saving, I think, but his brother and daughter might be. His son seems like he might be as well, but we will handle those. Azula is your job. If I think she is too far gone, am I to kill her? He kisses her on the lips. No, I would not ask you to kill a friend no matter how bad. No, just observe her, and when you feel you have seen enough, report to me. She smiles sweetly. Okay, where am I going to meet her? She's gathering a team. Your old friend Mai and you. I've planned for you to join a nearby circus, and they have been paid to say you've been with them a while. She will find you there. How much am I allowed to show? Nothing you can't explain. Taijutsu and weapons are fine as a chakra augmentation if kept low-key. No jutsu or surface walking. At least not if you can be seen. She nods and smiles. Back to basics then. Well, at least I've improved a lot on them. One more thing. Keep your seals on or your speed might raise attention. You can turn them off to rest, but keep it low-key. I'll miss you every day, you know. Naruto grins and pulls her into a hug. Don't worry. We'll be together again soon. Be safe. Tylee changed into her old clothes and left to join the circus. You sure she's ready? I have faith in her. Besides, we are out of time. June nods. My contact in the Black Bean says he's been looking for us and Iroh is with him. Naruto smirks. Then let's not keep His Majesty waiting. 1 hour later, Naruto and June were enjoying a drink at the Black Bean bar as Zuko and Iroh walk in. Iroh is attempting to convince Zuko to let him speak. Zuko, however, is not listening and walks up to the bar. A U-blood spiral and June Mitarashi Uzumaki. Iroh's eyes widen. Uzumaki. An old name. And a bold claim. Naruto finishes his drink and looks at the man. And well deserved. What do you want? Zuko growls. Speak with respect. I am the Fire Prince. Naruto scoffs. Just like your ancestor. First, you are a banished prince. Second, I am a firm believer that respect is earned, not given. Zuko is about to attack him when Iroh holds him back and convinces him to let him deal with this. I am sorry for my nephew. He is quite frustrated. I understand your position perfectly. You speak as an Uzumaki would and you seem quite reasonable. We are both of Uzumaki decent, but I use my name openly. I never knew my family, you see, so when I found some, I took my name proudly. Iroh nods with a kind smile. Understandable. Forgive me, but your friend reminds me of somebody. His features remind me of Ran. Naruto nods. So, he's still alive. Good. I was unsure if any of the old clans survived the past 4,000 years. Iroh's eyes widen and at a glance from Naruto keeps this information to himself. Iroh is also sweating in his shoes. If he is who he thinks, then Zuko is on thin ice and needs to be careful. You didn't answer his question. What do you want? Oh, we were looking for the Avatar. Unfortunately, capturing him is the only way Zuko will be allowed home. Naruto nods. A moral dilemma. Capture the Avatar and you may doom the world. Don't and you are never allowed home. I can see the reason for the frustration. It is also a matter of reclaiming my honor. Naruto frowns behind his mask. Let me tell you a story and see if you feel the same about your precious honor. I knew a boy once. He was arrogant but decent. His clan was considered nobility. One day his elder brother, who he had always respected but envied, killed his clan. Hundreds dead in one night, including his own parents. This is the scene he came home to that night. His brother cast an illusion to make him relive the memories for 3 days straight. After that he grew angry. Mad. He claimed he had to kill his brother to avenge his clan and regain his clan's honor, then rebuild his clan. A few years later he was approached by a powerful criminal of his village and offered power enough to do it. He left the village without hesitation, thus betraying them all. He abandoned honor for revenge and still claimed the need to honor his clan. A man who had lived in misery his entire life. Hated by the village as a demon and betrayed at every turn, sought to earn their respect and brought him back. What do you think they did to him? They would accept him and treat him as a hero for retrieving a traitor for trial. Naruto shakes his head. They betrayed him and his leader as well. They exiled him. Do you know what he did with the rest of his life? Zuko was about to speak when Iroh interrupted. He sought strength to protect a new home. He became a god and brought a 1,000-year peace, then slept to await a time when he was needed again. He brought honor to himself by doing what was right rather than seeking the approval of others. The tale of the second Shinju. Naruto smiles behind his mask and nods. Correct. Do you know the lesson of the story, Zuko? Seek honor through deeds done and not through the minds of others. Uncle has told me that many times. I never got it until now though. Naruto looks at June and takes Iroh outside to talk alone. So, blood spiral. You are Shinju then and have awoken at last. I was beginning to think that just a fable. Blame that bastard Sozin. To prevent my interference, he sealed my power and buried me. I was released by chance of a beautiful woman dropping in and breaking the seal. Much of my power is still sealed, or this would be done already. What is your intention? Ozai's fate is decided. Yours too now. Zuko's and Azula's are still in question. You may continue to teach him, but if he is not redeemed by the time the comet arrives, I will kill him. Azula too. I was afraid you would say that. How close is he to losing his head? As far as I can tell, you are all related to Sasuke Uchiha. I regret healing him now and allowing his progeny. He reminds me of Sasuke before he betrayed the leaf. Descriptions of Azula remind me of him as we fought at the Valley of the End. Both are on the verge of madness and obsession. Both are arrogant and entitled. Neither knows humility. But Zuko thankfully seems to have some redeeming qualities. Teach him humility, kindness and true honor and I will be happy. As for Azula, I have somebody watching her to judge her character and potential for change. I see. Will you help us find the Avatar? Yes, but not capture. If you wish that, you must do it yourself. However, I will not allow his death. The world has changed since my time and he has become integral. The balance. Make no mistake. The Avatar brings no balance, but he does keep the peace. Balance is equal parts light and dark. Balance between the nations. The Avatar is always born into one nation even though he learns from all. Now more than ever, since he is a child and unaware of his true duty. He is as unaware of his origins as the hundreds before him. He is needed but not to be relied upon. Iroh nods. Now tell me, do any of the Uzumaki clan still exist? I found June by chance, but she did not know her origins. The White Lotus Society is mostly Uzumaki, though none claim to be descended from you. Naruto nods. I restarted the clan with 100 people. When I slept there was almost 10,000. Almost the same as when they were wiped out the first time. I am sad the world changed in this way, but it can't be helped. Change is inevitable. Have your White Lotus contact me as soon as you can. I wish to meet my family. Very well. For what it is worth, I am sorry for what our family has wrought. I don't blame you. And it's unfair to blame Sasuke as he reformed. No, the blame lies with Sozin and his corrupted family. Naruto smiles. I should pay a visit to Ran sometime. He was a hatchling the last I saw him. Iroh frowns. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but he and his lover are the last of their kind. At least as far as we know. That is my brother's doing, unfortunately. All the more reason to visit. The dragons were always the wisest of the summon clans. Wiser even than the toads. I wonder how many summon clans remain. I slept far too long and have shirked my duty to them. Well, let's get back before June kills Zuko for annoying her. Iroh sweet drops and follows him inside. As they return, Naruto sees a very uncomfortable Zuko trying not to look at June, who is smirking in a very Anko-like manner. June, you've been channeling Anko again. I am so proud of you. She laughs and Zuko shuffles away to Iroh. So, will they help us? Iroh nods. Yes, they will track him but will not help with his capture, and if his life is in any danger they will interfere. I implore you, nephew, please do not piss him off. This man is far more dangerous than anybody you will meet or a potential ally you could never hope to best. Zuko has never heard his uncle more worried and turns to the man as he speaks with June and shivers as he turns his eyes to him. An hour later they were led outside to their mounts. Nyla and 2 ostrich horses. Do you have something of the Avatar's or somebody close to him? Zuko hands June a Water Nation necklace. A Water Tribe girl who is always with him. This is hers. June takes it and holds it under Nyla's nose, and she takes in the scent before she points in the right direction. You are in luck, Nyla has the scent. June mounts Nyla and Iroh and Zuko mount their ostrich horses before Zuko frowns down at Naruto. Don't you have a mount? He doesn't need one. It will only slow him down. Zuko is about to question before Naruto speaks up. Try to keep up. Suddenly he takes off at speed and June follows. Hey, we better get going, nephew. Don't want to lose the trail. Zuko blinks twice and kicks his ride to full speed. As Zuko gained on his uncle, he asked, how can he do that, uncle? He shrugs. There are many things I don't know. What he is doing is an ancient art, but details of it are lost to time. Only a very small amount of people even know it exists. All I know is this man is not to be trifled with. He told me himself you are balancing on the edge of a blade. Either you become a better person than your father or you will die, and I believe him. Who is he to decide such things? Iroh groans. Think, Zuko. We know of the Avatar. Almost everything about him, yet this man displays skills thought only a legend. We know the Avatar has a beginning, but we know nothing of these skills. Are you saying what he can do is an art older than the Avatar? Naruto smirks as he is able to hear them. He fully expected Iroh to warn Zuko. Honestly, he had little hope for Azula, but he hoped Zuko could be saved. Yes, nephew. He is what is known as a shinobi or ninja. Once there were tens of thousands waging constant war with each other until the coming of the second Shinju. The story he told you earlier was the story of that man. He held peace for 1,000 years and slept. For over 1,000 years after peace remained. That is longer than even any Avatar. Zuko raises an eyebrow. What happened to him? It was said during significant conflict he would awaken again. But he never did. Some think him merely a legend, and I must admit until seeing this blood spiral I did as well. Now I think something stopped him from awakening, and I am beginning to think what is happening in this war will decide the fate of many by the choices of a few. You are one of those few and you are not ready for this challenge. Naruto drops back. You are on the right track, Zuko. All you need is to understand a few things and to learn control. I hold the lives of every person by a thread because to be a shinobi is to risk one's life to finish the mission. Death is always an option and a possibility. Shinobi know this more than most. A shinobi is a weapon. A shinobi sacrifices everything for the mission, their family, and all those precious to them. As a ruler should. Honor means nothing if you are not willing to do that. Try holding your honor when an enemy holds the lives of your child in one hand and your subjects in the other, giving you the choice to save one or kill him. In that situation, where is honor? One who has honor is one who is willing to sacrifice to do what is right. Ask yourself, are you doing that? Naruto leaves him with those thoughts. Iroh strokes his beard. He might look young, but he has seen much. Wise beyond his years. And he is right. So, what will you do? I don't know, uncle. I need to think. June pulls up beside them. If it's any consolation, he doesn't usually talk this much to anybody he doesn't like or doesn't want to save. I've seen him go weeks without talking more than 2 words to anybody but his girl. Iroh grins. Oh, could we meet this lovely flower? June snorts. Funny you call her that. We sometimes call her Wild Rose. Though most know her as Crimson Nightmare. Zuko frowns. I heard of her. I was expecting to see her with you too. June shakes her head. She's on another mission. It could be weeks or months before we see her again. Her toughest mission yet. Tracking a possible threat and deciding if it's worth eliminating. Iroh nods. Azula. Zuko's eyes widen. Azula. Iroh nods. He mentioned he had somebody watching her like you and deciding if she can be saved or if she is a threat. If she can be saved, she will be approached. If not, she will die. That is what a shinobi was in their last days. How do you know so much of them, uncle? He was once first in line for the throne and had access to the royal records and history. It's the most comprehensive knowledge on his kind there is besides an Uzumaki. Uzumaki are the last known ninja clan there is, and we only know of 2. Crimson Nightmare is his apprentice, though she isn't an Uzumaki. She is however descended from shinobi. Iroh nods. True, though there is less information than you might think on them in general. Most of the history is on one shinobi and our own ancestor. Who? The traitor, Sasuke Uchiha. We would not be here if Shinju did not give him a second chance at life. The cost was loyalty to his village at the cost of death and torture of his soul should he turn once again. He held to his word and took a wife to rebuild his clan. June nods. With the help of his clan head and elder brother Itachi. A true shinobi who under orders from his leader slaughtered his entire clan in one night including his own parents. He spared only his little brother. It was only once his brother turned traitor that he returned and was pardoned and was allowed to take his place as clan head. Iroh's eyes widen. I did not know that. Any idea why he received such orders? Entitlement, arrogance. The Uchiha clan had become synonymous with these words. They planned a coup to take control of the village. It would have meant vulnerability to their enemies though, so the leaders of the village were given no choice. There were some more reasons, of course. Ulterior motives. But it was necessary. So much history lost to time. Survive his tests and you might regain some of it. If you are lucky. It took nearly a week to catch up with the Avatar. In that time Zuko had a lot of time to think. He was no longer sure of what was right. He wanted to please his father, but was he wrong? Either way he had to try at least once more. Avatar, you are coming with me. Even if I have to drag you into my father's throne room. Katara frowns. She knows something is different with Zuko. He seems to not be in it this time. What, no remarks about regaining your honor or something? I am no longer sure what honor is. But I must try, or I can never return home. Aang frowns. And them. He points to Naruto and June. Not a part of this. As per our agreement they track only. And how did they track us? We've been laying low. Naruto holds up Katara's necklace and her eyes widen. That would be your doing. You dropped something in your last encounter. Katara charges Naruto with her water whips in full swing. She hits him easily, which confuses her and the water freezes. As she is about to take her necklace from him, he flexes and the ice breaks, knocking her down. Naruto steps forward, causing Aang to panic and move to attack him. Intending to blast him away with a blast of air, he is confused when it does nothing and Naruto grabs his staff and bonks him on the head with it playfully and tosses it back to him. Naruto turns back to Katara and approaches. Before she can say anything, he kneels in front of her and holds out the necklace. You really should learn to listen. I have no intention of fighting you today. You only had to ask for it back. June smirks. He's right. We don't need it anymore. Even if our job wasn't done, Nyla here remembers your scent and can find you anytime. Aang looks confused and frowns at Zuko. You had an opportunity to attack. Why didn't you? Zuko shrugs. You picked a fight with Blood Spiral. I was curious what he would do. Katara growls. You say that like you knew he would win. Well, he has never lost a fight before. His reputation is well deserved. Naruto frowns. I'm going to let you in on a secret. The Avatar is not the most powerful being in this world. Rather, he is second. By far I am stronger. The Avatar is the bridge between the human and spirit world. When he masters his power, none can match him. Ah, but there is somebody older. From an age before the spirits. A time of demons and gods. When many had the power to wield all the elements. You know so little about yourself, I am disappointed. You might be the avatar, but you are far from ready. You still hold on to the material world too closely to ever control your true power. Even if you mastered the elements, your spirit would still be too weak to do what is needed. What do you mean? Tell me, child. Do you have the will to kill your heart and take a life? Or would you spare your enemy knowing full well he will hurt those you love? The life of duty is one of sacrifice. You, your enemy, or one you love. That is always the cost. I would protect those I love by sacrificing myself, but if it came down to a choice between me and an enemy, he would die. You are a monster. Naruto nods. I have been called that. Along with demon, tool, weapon, and many other things. His eyes harden and grow cold. But at least I am not a coward who abandons his family because he is afraid of his duty. At least I am not the avatar. Aang's eyes widen and he looks down in guilt. Naruto growls at Aang. I would like very much to test you and judge whether you are benefit to the world or threat, but my gut says you are integral somehow. You die and things go out of whack. Zuko has not passed his test yet. What he chooses when today is done may decide his fate. So, get up and fight, little avatar. Fight for those you love or run away like a coward. Naruto steps back beside June. Geez, what did he do to piss you off? He shakes his head. Nothing. Just reminded me too much of myself at his age. June raises an eyebrow. Ha, as a child I was a happy fool. Just like him I showed off. Was loud. Dumb. Too powerful for my own good. Even had a crush on a girl who my gut told me would never like me the way I like her. I wasted a lot of time doing stupid things instead of getting stronger to protect the things that mattered. He chuckles. Well, not all of it was as stupid as people thought. The pranks served a much higher purpose than even I knew. June nods. Kids do stupid things. True, but a child also needs to know when being a child is an option. I never got the opportunity to truly be a child because of my burden, but that doesn't mean I didn't get a chance to be happy once I accepted it. The difference is he doesn't have anybody to tell him that. I did. Now it's up to him to figure out the rest. As Aang and Zuko's fight picks up speed, Naruto notices even with partial mastery over two elements and the beginnings of a third, Aang seems to only be even with Zuko. By all means he should be having no trouble with the prince. Tell me, Iroh, has something struck you as off about this fight? He nods. Neither can find an opening. The boy seems reluctant to hurt my nephew and my nephew seems conflicted in his convictions. Neither is fighting at full strength. Naruto nods. I think you are partly right. I think Zuko doesn't want to win anymore. I think he is beginning to see his answer. Naruto notices a pattern to the fight. No, not a fight. A dance. Zuko finally understands his place. If he can hold it, I will spare him. Iroh smiles. I see. As they fight, they learn from each other. Neither is trying to fight anymore. Just going through the motions. He nods. Shinobi, it is said, could understand each other best through an exchange of fists. To see the other's heart and to understand is a gift. Iroh nods. Naruto walks between the two fighters and stops them. Do you both understand the significance of what has happened here? Aang frowns and nods. It's like for a moment I could read his thoughts. Like I understood his pain. Zuko frowns. For a moment I was happy. At peace with myself but conflicted with my duty. Naruto smiles. So, you do understand. Zuko, your destiny is not to capture the avatar but to teach him. He has his water bending, his earth bending teacher, but he needs fire to complete the set. It is not enough but it's a start. Katara growls. Aang, you can't be thinking about this. He's the enemy. Aang frowns. I understand, Katara, but where else will I find a firebending master? Besides, Zuko has changed. I don't know how, but he has. Katara is angry, but she sees his reasoning. Fine, but I'm watching you. Naruto smiles. A lesson for you, Katara. She looks at Naruto. What? I once had a friend. I called him brother. He tried to betray my village and kill me. Yet I dragged him home and had him imprisoned. After 5 years to think he learned his lesson and I forgave him. I gave him a second chance. Naruto chuckles. After all this time he seems to have had such an effect on my life in lessons of what not to do. When I came here, I learned his children had made this world hell. I regretted saving him. But then I realized I was falling into a trap of hatred. I realized the man I knew is long since dead and not at fault. Each person is responsible for their actions, but sometimes those actions are influenced otherwise. So, tell me, without living his life, can you truly understand and condemn Zuko? Without knowing what led him to this point and who is responsible for that? Would you not give him a second chance? If you can't, then remember. Someday it may be you who needs a second chance. Katara creases her eyebrows. You speak like you are 1,000 years old and you just awoke. Naruto smirks under his mask and moves to June's side before taking her hand and placing the other on Nyla. Naruto looks at her with amusement in his eyes and chuckles, then with a red flash June and Nyla disappear. Katara, Aang and Zuko widen their eyes and Iroh chuckles. Congratulations Zuko. You just survived your first test from the Shinju. Now you just have to keep from disappointing him. Zuko frowns and nods. Or it will cost me my life. Aang narrows his eyes. I'm missing something, here aren't I? Iroh nods. We will fill you in over some nice tea. Zuko nods. After that we have some things to collect and debts to settle before we can begin. We will meet near Ba Sing Se. Looking at his uncle he frowns. Uncle, please fill him in. I need some time alone to think. He walks away. With Ty Lee, it had been a couple weeks since Naruto left her here to wait for Azula. She had enjoyed her time. But it wasn't to last. Hello Ty Lee. I heard you were around here. Having fun. Ty Lee looks at the newcomer and grins. Azula. Walking on her hands and then turning it into a flip and hugging the princess, she keeps up the charade. Yeah, it's been great. My aura has never been pinker. Azula smiles at her old friend. I have to admit I never expected you to be here of all places. Our parents would be rolling in the graves at all the money spent on sending us to the school for Fire Nation ladies. Ty Lee frowns. You know why I didn't stay? They finally overstood their bounds. Ah yes. Your sisters. They told me you left with a boy. I must say I am curious. Is he here with you? I would like to meet him. She shakes her head. He's taking care of some personal business right now. But I doubt this is a personal visit. Why did you come find me? Azula nods. Sadly, you are right. You remember my brother and fuddy-duddy uncle. Ty Lee giggles. Oh yeah, he was funny. Azula shows a fake smile. Yes, quite. Anyway, it seems father wishes them back home. They have become a rather public embarrassment. I am gathering a team to bring them back. Ty Lee looks surprised. Naruto was always proud of her acting skills. Really? Who were you intending? Well, you and Mai to start. I've also been hearing good things about a mercenary group going around. Just 3 people with a great reputation for getting jobs done. Ty Lee frowns. She did not expect this. Azula, if you are talking about who I don't think you want to meet them. Azula's eyebrows rise. Why not? Such people would be perfect for this. And think if they could be convinced to join my guard. Ty Lee sighs and shakes her head. They won't. The group you are thinking of is the Blood Pack. They have a grudge against your father and will avoid you if possible. If you confront them, they will try to destroy you. Please just leave them alone. They've done so much good around here and all they want is for the Fire Nation to leave them alone. You know them. She nods. I met them. They weren't friendly to me at first, but their leader was willing to listen to me. He helped me out of a real problem I was having, and we remained friends, but he made his feelings for your family clear. Blood Spiral, Crimson Nightmare and June Matarashi Uzumaki. 3 years and they've not just made a name for themselves but become local heroes. Azula frowns. I don't know what possible grudge they could have, but leaving that alone I suppose it wouldn't do to go starting a fight just to recruit them. But I still say I should at least meet them. Ty Lee frowns further. Fine. I need to perform tonight, but tomorrow we can go find them. Just don't be surprised if you find them rude and uncooperative. Azula smiles. I've dealt with Zuzu for years. How bad could these 3 be? Besides, we need to find Mai first anyway. Ty Lee shakes her head and whispers to herself as she walks away. Deadly. For you more than most. Early the next day they were on their way. With Naruto. June stumbles. Ugh. That was something. What was that? Naruto chuckles. Sorry, I only just got that one back. My father's most famous jutsu. Hiraishin. With it he killed 1,000 ninja in seconds. June grins. Useful. Could make a fortune in the transportation and delivery business. Naruto shakes his head. It's taxing over long distances even for me. Besides, like you noticed, it takes some getting used to for new passengers. Most people empty the guts their first time. He frowns. Besides, the kinds of people who would want to go that far are the kinds of people I don't want to associate with. He banishes his dark thoughts with a nod and smiles. Now I have some traveling to do. I trust you have something to occupy your time for a couple weeks. Yeah, I got some training you left me, and when I need a break, I can always take a couple jobs. Naruto pats her back. Good. Keep an ear to the ground for Tylee as well. I trust she is safe, but you can never be too careful. She smirks. She'll be fine. But what do you have planned and how long you gonna be gone? Just in case. She asks, I have an experiment or two to run and some people to visit. Not to mention an old friend. Shouldn't be more than a week or two. Hey, say hi for me. Naruto laughs and waves as he flashes away. Kyoshi Island. Peaceful. Now let's see what has truly changed in this world. Naruto sits in a lotus position intending on meditating. He hasn't needed to do this since absorbing the Shinju, as he is permanently in sage mode now and he has no need to retreat into his mindscape. However, he realized soon before his sleep that doing this allowed a level of clarity about his surroundings that bordered on omniscience. As he opened his eyes, he found himself in front of a dark cavern in a misty forest. To others this place might seem foreboding, but for him he felt no fear. Who comes into the lair of Ko the Face Stealer? Are a lost human. But you seem like more. Naruto had read much about spirits. He was curious about the beings who had replaced demons, gods and summons in this world. Ko was well known to him, and so he assumed his cold demeanor. Not out of fear, as he knew Ko was no threat to him, but simply to irritate him. And who is Ko? Ko seems amused. Among the spirits I am among the oldest. I remember our beginning. I have stolen the faces of many. Spirits and humans both. Met the Avatar. He chuckles. Many times, over many lives. I once stole the face of the woman he loved in a past life. I even met the current incarnation. He composed himself well with me, but he does not impress. Naruto nods. I feel much the same of him. Tell me, how is it the spirits came into being? Last I knew there was nothing like you. Only gods, demons and summons. Spirit was synonymous with soul. Ko comes closer to Naruto and looks him in the eye with a baboon-like face. You speak no lies. You remember a time before my being. That can only mean you are not human. Before I answer I ask. What are you? Naruto nods. I see no harm in answering. Once I was human. The cold features you see were my mask. A face I used to keep my heart whole. A friend, however, opened my heart and allowed me to get closer to people and trust once more. His last gift before he died was to make me his successor. Ko nods. Admirable. Who was this friend? Naruto smiles. Shinju. Ko looks at Naruto and freezes. I know that name. You are right, there once was no spirits. However, if you are who I think, then once you slept slowly the world changed. You did not anticipate the evolution of life. Once we were demons. Some like myself never changed much. Others became more sympathetic. They left Makai and lived in the human world. This linked our worlds closer than ever and led to major changes in your world. Land masses shifted. Chakra changed to become more like our own Yukai, and the reverse was true of our Yukai becoming closer to Chakra. A link was created between our kind. The balance was destroyed though. An equalizer was needed. So, two of our oldest came to embody the two closest aspects of balance there are. Light and dark. Yin and Yang. Rava and Vatu. Their clashes changed the land many times, but even that was not enough. One must always win and absorb the other. After many years the one absorbed would always be born from the other. The arrogance of Light meant Rava feared Vatu's victory would destroy everything, and so she fought harder. Until a human interfered and she was injured. In payment he took her with him and gathered the elements from the lion turtles and learned their forms. He needed her to help him regulate the power though, and so eventually he was forced to fight Vatu and Rava was absorbed into the man. He became the first avatar and imprisoned Vatu in a tree here in the spirit world. What you once knew as Makai. The trust between spirit and human was broken by this point, however, and so the spirits came back here. Only the avatar was able to cross at will. Or so we thought. Some stayed behind though. The moon and ocean spirits, for example, and Wan Shi Tong. Naruto nods. The moon spirit does not come from Makai, does she? Ko raises an eyebrow. So, you know then. Yes, it is said she is the oldest of us. Even to those like myself she is unerringly kind, though it is said she was once worse than any demon. Nobody of our kind knows how she came into being. Ko shrugs. The Fire Nation also killed her mortal aspect recently. She would have ceased to be in your world if she was not fused with the life force of a human girl she once aided. Naruto bows in respect to Ko and he replies in kind. Thank you, Ko. I appreciate the help. I hope we meet again. Ko takes on the face of a kind lady and smiles. As do I, Lord Shinju. It is good to have you awake again. Naruto fades from the spirit realm and opens his eyes. He raises his eyebrows as his body is tied up and he is surrounded by many beautiful women wearing face paint like geisha but wielding weapons of all sorts. Well, this is a pleasant sight to wake to. However, I must say I am taken, ladies. The apparent leader walks up to him and frowns. You are trespassing on Kyoshi Island, stranger. Besides the Avatar and his friends, no man is welcome here. Speak. Who are you? Naruto bows at the waist as far as he can while sitting. Sorry. My name is a close secret for those I trust. I simply needed a quiet and peaceful location to meditate for a bit. This place seemed a perfect place for it and so I took advantage. I apologize for the inconvenience. The warriors whisper amongst themselves and the leader speaks up. Well, you seem respectful enough. A welcome sight in a man, I must say. Naruto smiles. It wasn't always so, but I try. Might I ask you a personal question? She raises an eyebrow and narrows her eyes but admits she is curious. You can, but whether I answer depends on the question. Naruto nods. That's reasonable. Does the name Temari mean anything to you? Or maybe Tenten? The ladies whisper even more. Names lost on most. They are some of our oldest recorded ancestors. How do you know of them? Naruto laughs lightly. Well, for starters, my girlfriend is also descended from Tenten. As for how I know them well, can you keep a secret? I do not trust easily, but those I do become family to me. I see no reason to deny you your secrets. I admit I am curious. Naruto grins and it causes a flash of a memory in her mind about a story her mother told her as a child. They were some of my closest friends. Do you still need to know my name, or have you guessed already? Naruto stands and snaps the ropes around him, causing the women to stumble back. The leader kneels. I am sorry, Lord Shinju. I am the leader of the Kyoshi warriors. My name is Suki. Naruto kneels before her and takes her hand. There is no need to kneel before me. I never asked for it before and I never will. And it's a pleasure, Suki. Suki blushes as she rises. She whispers to herself. If you weren't taken, Naruto smirks a little. I won't say you don't have a shot, Suki, but I personally believe in the policy of one wife and any other woman brought into the relationship is her choice. Given your speech of the Avatar, you might meet my chosen in the future. She is on a mission for me though, so I ask you to keep her identity secret from her companions. Suki smiles. You said she is a descendant of Tenten, so to us she is family already. He smiles. Her name is Tylee. She may come here as an enemy of the Avatar, but make no mistake, she works for me. Suki nods. I will notify the others to aid her quietly if seen. Would you like to stay for dinner, Lord Shinju? Naruto smiles. Just Naruto is fine, Suki. I am not fond of titles. As for dinner, I will have to decline for now. I have too much to do. But another time I will visit and take you up on the offer. If I might ask how you figured out who our ancestors were. The choice of weapons, the attitude and discipline, even the proud way you held yourself is a perfect mixture of Tenten and Temari. I am surprised to see so little of Lee or Shikamaru in you though. No lazy tendencies or extremely unattractive dress sense or boundless energy and need to train constantly. Suki snorts. It happens sometimes but mostly no. Naruto nods then slaps his forehead. Oh stupid. Of course. Shikamaru told me that happens. The warriors are confused. What? Naruto chuckles. The Nara trait of laziness is a distinctly male trait. It rarely happens in the women of the clan. As for Lee's tendencies, it would likely either be the same or just weaker. He wasn't a clan ninja after all, so family traits don't pass as easily. Suki nods. I'm not sure about clan or ninja, but the rest makes sense. Mostly it is the men who gain those traits. It's why every warrior here is female. We exile the men to a nearby island soon after they become teenagers, and they are raised by the men until a warrior needs to seek out a husband. Naruto frowns. Not my idea of a good family, but it's a better reason for such methods than my own childhood. He smiles. Besides, who am I to judge several hundred years of tradition while I slept? Suki frowns, picking up on his sadness, but decides it is a private matter and best left alone. Anyway, Suki, I have places I need to be, so I am afraid I have to go. It was nice meeting you all though, and I will return to visit sometime. Suki smiles wryly. Sorry about the treatment. We've had some troubles with foreign men the past century or so. He waves it off. It's fine. Naruto walks off down the beach and turns back to smile at them before he disappears in a red flash, causing the women to gasp. A rocky mountaintop outside an old temple. After a few months wandering the nations to investigate this world more and make his plans, he arrives at the Dragon Sanctuary. This place seems strange. I feel him here, but where? Naruto moves to explore the temple and smiles as he sees diagrams on the walls depicting an old taijutsu he can't place. He then slaps himself and laughs. Hinata, of course. Oh, she would be proud. I'm glad she got along with her summon so well. As he walks out of the temple, he finds himself surrounded by fire monks, all confused. He bows. Hello. Something I can help you with? I am looking for an old friend. An old man with white hair narrows his eyes. This place is designed to tempt people who enter with the promise of riches. A hidden meaning to this place exists which none have ever figured out besides our order. Few leave that room without triggering the traps. Who are you, boy? Naruto scratches his chin. Traps triggered by moving something tempting inside. The man nods. Then it's not so surprising I didn't trigger them then. I am not interested in treasure. Even if I fail to find the one I wish to see here, I am happy with what I did find. The man frowns. And what did you find? Naruto smiles serenely. The legacy of an old friend still living after 5,000 years. The man contemplates those words a moment before frowning in confusion. And who is it you seek? There is nobody here but us. Naruto shakes his head disappointed. I understand your need to protect him, but Ran would be disappointed in your dishonesty. The men take a firebending stance and a few raise spears at him. The leader snarls. How do you know that name, outsider? Naruto frowns. You failed to use your mind. I have given you all you need to figure it out. Well, unless he never spoke of me. Understandable, I suppose. He was a hatchling after all. The man steps forward to look Naruto in the eyes and considers his words. Your words confuse me. But if you speak true, then Ran will know. And if not, then you will die. Naruto nods. Lead the way. Then man leads the way through the temple through many hidden passages. A real maze which confuses even Naruto. Been a long time since I was confused as much as this place makes me. The architect should be proud. The man nods. The designs were old before this place was built. Kept by Ran himself. He said it was a gift from an old friend who wished him safety if his home ever became unsafe or if he was no longer welcome there. The architect didn't build from those plans until about 3,000 years ago. He was the first avatar, though his name is lost to us. Naruto smiles. I'm glad she got along with him so well. As he says this, the man frowns again. Then they step out into a courtyard at the base of a long stair with two opposing caves at the top. Go. At the top you shall be judged. Naruto ascends the stairs and stands between the caves. As he stands there, a red dragon flies out of one and a blue out of the other. Naruto smiles at them. Ran, sure, hello old friends. As the dragons descend from the sky, they stand before Naruto and Bo. The fire monks are shocked. Naruto frowns. What have I told you about that, Ran? Ran chuckles and raises his head. Sorry, Naruto. I just wanted to see the look on your face. Naruto shakes his head and grins. I see Hinata told you of my pranking days. Sure laughs. Told us in great detail. The day she died was the saddest of our lives. Naruto frowns. She was a bright star in a dark time. I wish she was here. Naruto smiles. But at least she left a legacy. Her taijutsu style on the walls of the temple was impressive. Ran smiles. After the demons entered our world and became spirits, a boy came to Shen and wished to learn from a true master of fire. I told Shen of Hinata's style and he taught it to the boy. In return, he brought peace as best he could. During his last days, he built this place for us. Naruto nods. What happened to the summon clans? Ran sheds a tear. Faded with the shinobi. Besides the dragons and the descendants of the island turtle who became spirits named lion turtles, they all faded. The dragons were strong enough to resist the change, but we were weakened and eventually hunted. Now only 3 remain and a single egg. I only hope it is enough for our kind to return. Naruto shakes his head. I'm sorry, Ran. I slept too long. I almost woke once, but the appearance of the avatar made the need less. I should have done it anyway. Then Sozin sealed my power and prevented my waking before his foolish war. If it wasn't for Tylee, I would still be asleep. Shaw raises her head in surprise. And who is Tylee? Smirking with a chuckle. A new girlfriend. Naruto grins. Yup. Turns out she's Tenten's descendant. She makes me happy like few others now. He smiles wistfully and Ran grins. I would like to meet her sometime. I am glad to see you, brother. Brother, huh? You know I wouldn't even know you were alive if Iroh hadn't seen a resemblance in my disguise to you and mentioned your name. Ran blinks a few times. May I see it? Naruto raises his mask and takes on the blood spirals look, causing Shaw to laugh. Wow, he could be your brother in human form. Naruto chuckles. I was inspired by Ran. I thought about modeling Tylee's after you, Shaw, but I felt something more sharp was needed. Shaw nods. I like my look, but among dragons I do strike more gently than others, so I understand. I am flattered you thought of me though. Naruto frowns. I have one more thing to ask. The Uchiha. I know the royal family of the Fire Nation is Sasuke's side. How long did it take for them to go bad again? Is there hope for them? Shaw sighs. It was only in the last 300 years they began to descend into madness again. Each parent seems to make the next generation worse. It came to a head with Sozin. Azulon wasn't much better and it seems Ozai is worse. We are concerned mostly about the youngest daughter. By all accounts Zuko can be hot-headed, but his pride and honor get in the way. He visited us recently with the Avatar and we taught them the dancing dragon taijutsu for their bending. For the daughter it was jealousy for her brother having the love of their mother. If Ozai fails to destroy everything, then chances are Azula will if she is not changed soon. Naruto nods. I was afraid of that. Zuko is improving, but Azula worries me. I hope Tylee finds some good in her or I will have to rob her of her oldest friend. Shaw and Ran nod. Such is the responsibility of one who is a god. Naruto nods. The closer the comet gets, the more power I get back, but the more guilty I feel for what I must do. I hope she forgives me. Shaw smiles. If she loves you as much as you love her, then you have nothing to fear. Adversity makes bonds stronger. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you two are still around. He grins. When I return, I expect to hear many stories about your lives. Shaw and Ran chuckle and return to their caves. As Naruto descends the steps, he stands before the fire monks again and they all kneel. Please don't do that. I hate formality. I am here only to visit my old friends. The leader rises with his men. What will you do now? Naruto sighs and shakes his head. I have a couple more stops before I return to my companion to continue my training. It is almost time for the last of the royal family to be judged. Naruto leaves in a red flash once again. After meeting with the White Lotus, Naruto was in a good mood. To think so many of his kinsmen had survived and had their children, and that family had flourished into a society designed to accede to his morals and purpose was flattering and gratifying. Now he wished to speak to the ocean and moon spirits, and so he stood on the water outside the gates of the Northern Water Tribe's city, much to their confusion. The fact he is standing on water without bending it is shocking enough to the citizens, but that he stands there without speaking or attacking or even moving has them confused. Several councils have been held over the past week to decide what to do about this mysterious man until a soldier rushes into a meeting panting in exhaustion. What is the meaning of this outburst? The man takes a knee before the ruler of the water tribe and hands him a scroll. Taking the hint, the man opens it and begins to read. As he does, his eyes widen further and further until he drops it like it has burned him, only for another to pick it up and raise an eyebrow at its contents. The identity of the man at the gates as far as they can find. I wonder what an Earth Nation bounty hunter renowned for working in a small squad is doing here. The ruler turns to speak with the old man who trains their best water benders. I don't know, but I do know he is not yet an enemy. He is powerful though. I think our best course is to invite him in and for you to ask him. As I understand, he respects power. I believe he will respond to you better than me. Master Paku nods. Very well. I must admit I have heard good things about this blood spiral, even as ominous as his name sounds. And how he stands on water even though he is known to not be a bender is intriguing. I will go speak to him now, Chief Arnuk. Arnuk nods. An hour later, Paku is standing on a barge with a small team of his finest water benders heading out the gate to meet this stranger. As he arrives, Naruto looks at the man and bows in respect. He then flicks a pie show tile to Paku, who raises an eyebrow at the tile with the design of a white lotus on it. He then looks back at his water benders and nods to them. Creating a sheet of ice to stand on, he orders them to take the rest of the day off. Paku looks at Naruto with curiosity. I thought I knew all members of the order. You are new. Naruto shakes his head. I'm not a member, but you could say the order and I share a vision. A vision. Naruto nods. Peace at all cost. The end of conflict on large scale. Truth and honesty above all else. The Order of the White Lotus embodies these values. But tell me, who and what inspired this? Paku nods. The older members say it was inspired by an old god who sleeps. That he was meant to wake at the time of the next conflict to end it before it starts, but he never did. Naruto looks guilty. He was prevented. His duty to many shirk, but it was beyond his control. All for the greed and madness of one man and his family. But that is not why I am here. Paku quirks an eyebrow. And why are you here, Blood Spiral? I would think this place uninteresting to a mercenary. Even one as exceptional as you. Naruto shakes his head. For the work maybe, but then I am not here on the capacity of a mercenary. I am here to speak to the ocean and moon spirits. Paku stiffens. So, you know they are here. You know also that they were protected from anybody beyond our trust for centuries then. And that recently they were attacked and nearly killed. Why would I allow another outsider near them? Understandable. Let me ask you another question. Why are you here? Why is the ruler of his people not the one to confront me? I am curious. Paku nods. What little we know leads us to believe you are not here for anything untoward, and while we did not wish to antagonize you, the chief believed you might respond to a more powerful person such as I. Naruto nods in understanding. And how do you judge power, Paku? The ability to bend, the skills you have, or the ability to lead? Let me offer a counter-argument. He is in grieving and is not thinking to full capacity. Who has more power than the leader of his people? The one in command. Paku smiles. I agree, but I agreed to take his place simply because he is grieving. Naruto chuckles. Very well, Paku. Take me to him and I will explain my purpose here to the both of you. However, until this war is done, I ask you to keep my secrets. Until I take back what is mine, I am vulnerable, and so is my goal. The same goal as the White Lotus. Paku nods. I promise nothing, of course, but if I think this is right, then I have no problem keeping your secret. Later that day, Naruto, Paku and Arnuk are sitting in his throne room drinking tea and sharing stories. Arnuk shakes his head. You have such wonderful stories, Naruto. I wish I could see the world of your time. Naruto shakes his head. I can't show much because of the seal, but as a gift I will show you some of the best and worst of my time in hope that you understand my intention a little better. Naruto casts a genjutsu over to two men to show them many battles he had seen and taken part of when he was a child and as he grew. He also showed them some of his fondest memories and finally an image of Azu at the height of peace. Arnuk smiles and sheds a tear. My daughter would have loved this. Naruto smirks. Oh, she is aware of it and has seen it all and so much more. Arnuk looks sadly at him. How? She is dead. Gave her life to return life to the moon spirit. Naruto shakes his head. Not dead, old man. Fused. Just like me and the Shinju. Her body and mind with the memories and some of the original left behind as a guide with all that power. Never the same again, true but never truly gone. Arnuk and Paku have to spend a few minutes rebooting their minds before taking him to the spirit pool where Naruto sits in lotus. This form does not suit you, Kaguya. An ethereal giggle can be heard as the form of Princess Yue stands before the men in all her beauty. I was wondering if you would ever visit me, Naruto. I have much to thank you for. Not the least of which is my mind. Naruto smiles. So, you take the form of your host. Tell me, am I right in thinking she and you are both one and the same now? She nods. Yue is a part of me as much as I am part of her now. I must admit it has been too long since I felt love like hers for the boy soccer. And of course, her father. Kaguya smiles kindly at the chief. So, it is true then. You do live. Why did you not come to me? She shakes her head. You were not ready to let go. I once claimed myself a goddess and became a demon. I still would be such if it were not for Naruto. It was only once I learned to let go of the past and move on that I gained a kind enough heart to break my seal and return to this world. Just a few centuries later I find the child of a woman at my pool with a child dying. A woman willing to give up everything to save her child. Even her child itself. I honored her wish by sharing my power. In return, when that child found me in need of aid, she did for me what I never thought to see a mortal do. Give up everything with no hope or care for anything but righting a wrong. I could not let such a gift on this world just die. So instead we became one and the same. Her form and heart. My mind and experience. A new being entirely in balance. I am Kaguya Yue Otsutsuki. Spirit of the moon. The man sheds a tear and smiles. Would you tell me of yourself? I would like to know who it is who saved my daughter. Naruto lays back and relaxes for the story and gestures for them to do the same as Kaguya begins the story of her origins and downfall. Later that night the spirit pool was alight in calm silence. Such a story. Truly a wonderful story. Kaguya nods. Naruto. I am sorry. Naruto opens an eye. What for? Far as I am concerned you made up for everything you did and then some. She shakes her head. I tried to prevent Sozan's betrayal. Even then, because your power is so much greater than mine, all I could do is sacrifice my own and my son's power in order to send that comet into a 100-year orbit. We would not be stuck in these forms otherwise. Paku frowns. Son, our legends always said that we are lovers. She giggles. Dear Kami, no. That legend formed upon the idea we were made the same way as other spirits. No, he is my son, or more accurately my descendant. His original purpose was to guard my original body in the moon and to wrest judgment on mankind if they did not live up to my other son's hopes. If Naruto had not done what he did, then he likely would have destroyed you all within a few years. Naruto nods. And when the world changed and with no more purpose, he changed with it, becoming the spirit of the ocean. Kaguya nods. Kaguya, will you ever regain your power enough to shed these forms? She nods. Tonari already can, but the death of my old body has become a major setback. It will take me over 100 years to regain that power. Naruto grins. I am glad I was right about you, Kaguya. I have a gift for you. Kaguya cocks her head, then gasps as Naruto opens a portal which once closed leaves a tree-shaped stone behind. Naruto, you would trust me with that. Knowing what happened to me last time I used it. Naruto nods. What you did, Kaguya, was horrible, true. But it was born of a desire to do good. Shinju recognized this and never held a grudge. He knew that it was likely once his powers passed to me that he would never return. I would say after 5,000 years it's a safe bet he won't be using it. You have evolved enough now that you might now control this and not lose yourself to it. Paku examines the stone and quirks an eyebrow. For those of us not in the know. Naruto chuckles. Remember what she told you about what happened when she took the power of the previous Shinju? He nods. Well, when I adapted to the power, one of my first acts was to separate Kaguya's body from that of the Shinju tree. With neither having a will anymore, Kaguya was put back in the moon to one day heal herself and become whole. But the Shinju's will wasn't destroyed. Rather, it was given freely to me. Thus, his body no longer had a use. Until now. Anuk falls on his butt. This is the body of the original Shinju. Naruto nods. When this war ends, it will be Kaguya's new body. Kaguya panics. Why would you trust me with this? Over my 1,000-year rule I learned a valuable lesson. Even as a god I can't do everything by myself. I needed help. In my time I had the shinobi, the summon clans and my family. Now I must rebuild all that from the ground up. I have my Haim. I have the White Lotus and the Kyoshi warriors. In time I have plans for others. But I need somebody of a higher power to guide them. The Shinju told me once that as a god he did not understand humans, but no single human had the power to make people listen. He needed a partner. Without you I would not exist as I do now. I see no reason to let your potential as a guide for mankind to go to waste. In my full trust of my new power and in the humans I allowed myself to become complacent and was sealed as a result. I can't stay awake forever, or I will lose interest as any immortal does. So, I need a failsafe. I have my guards and my enforcers. Now I need a guiding hand for when I am not around. Will you be that guide? Kaguya was silent in thought for a long time before she finally smiled. Very well, Naruto. If you trust me, then I will guide the people when you are unable. I am only sad I cannot do as you do and return the love Sokka has shown me. Naruto smiles and Paku and Anuka are in awe as they bear witness to the seeds of a new age. Someday, Kaguya, you will find love again. Even for a god that is inevitable. We spend years being selfless. Is it wrong to spend a lifetime or two being a little selfish and wanting something for ourselves? Kaguya bows as he leaves. With Ty Lee. It's been months since Ty Lee joined Azula. They had picked up Mai and Ba Sing Se and met the Avatar again and again since. Zuko had just joined Aang and begun teaching him but found it impossible. It was Iroh who came up with the idea of seeking the dragons to learn. They did this and succeeded. Now Azula is getting impatient to meet the blood spiral. They had been to many outposts looking for him and found nothing. Until now, a red flash appeared before Ty Lee and disappeared just as soon, leaving a note on the ground for her. In their base, June had received the same thing. Ty Lee picks up the note and smiles. Azula takes notice. What is it, Ty Lee? She grins at Azula. If you are lucky, you can find him. Otherwise, this is how he finds you. You wanted to meet Blood Spiral. He left us instructions on where to go and when. Azula smiles. Ah, good. I was getting impatient. Where and when is the meeting? Fire Palace in 1 week in the courtyard. Just before the Fire Nation invasion. Azula frowns. Bold. That implies he knows our plans. I hope he isn't going to try anything. Mai sighs and responds with boredom in her voice as usual. It's probably some kind of statement. Like I am your enemy, but I am not afraid, and I can get you anywhere. Are you brave enough to speak to me? Ty Lee grins. Wow, Mai, you nailed his personality perfectly. That sounds like exactly what he would do. Azula frowns. A little arrogant, but I can respect a person with no fear. Let's go. 1 week later in the throne room. Azula is standing before her father. Azula, from this day forward you are Fire Lord. I will be king of all nations. The Phoenix King. You have done well, my daughter, and I am proud. Now go. Rule well. Azula smiles. Thank you, father. I am honored. As Ozai leaves to begin the invasion of the Fire Nation, she frowns. Almost time. Azula leaves to join Ty Lee and Mai in the courtyard to meet this mystery mercenary. Naruto and June are standing by the fountain using an invisibility jutsu to stay hidden. They are watching Mai and Ty Lee talk as they wait for Azula. Mai is frowning more than usual as she looks at Ty Lee. What's with the change of outfit, Ty Lee? I mean, I like it, but it's not something you would normally wear. Ty Lee is wearing her armor Naruto got her with her mask down. It's more me. Don't you think? Mai nods. I don't know why, but I get the feeling it is. Your old outfit suited you but felt wrong. When you dressed like a Kyoshi warrior last week that was closer to you. Ty Lee giggles. Yeah, I like them. They were fun. Mai shrugs. So, do you think he will get here soon? Ty Lee looks at the fountain with lidded eyes. Knowing him, he could already be here, and you wouldn't know. Mai narrows her eyes and tilts her head. You make him sound like an assassin. She nods. He does all kinds of work. Assassinations are sometimes called for. Though he's careful about those jobs. Doesn't like to kill people he doesn't have to. Mai smiles lightly. You like him, don't you? Ty Lee smirks. Like you like Zuko. Mai has the decency to blush. Azula walks in and smiles as she sees Ty Lee. Now that's an outfit I can live with. Nice find, Ty Lee. Ty Lee grins. Thanks. My boyfriend picked it out. Mai and Azula double take, then their attention falls to the fountain as Naruto and June drop the jutsu. Princess Azula, I understand you have been searching for us. Azula smiles. Yes, thank you for agreeing to a meeting. I have heard much of you and wished to meet you if only once. Naruto nods but keeps his blank expression behind the mask. Azula frowns a little. I thought there was 3 of you. He nods. Our third is currently watching a potential target. Azula nods. A shame. I've heard she's quite the exceptional fighter. Naruto chuckles. She should be. She was when she found me and has only gotten better since I trained her. I am quite proud. Naruto looks at Mai. And who are your companions? Azula smiles. This is Mai and Ty Lee. My oldest and best friends. Mai nods and looks bored. Naruto smirks. Tell me, Mai, Does the name Itachi mean anything to you? Her eyes widen a little. It does, yes. An ancestor of mine. Naruto nods. Itachi Uchiha and Shizune Kato, right? She nods hesitantly. Yes. How did you know? Before I answer, I have a question for Azula and one for Ty Lee. Azula smiles. Yes. Naruto's eyes grow cold, causing her to shiver. Do you agree with your father's plan? She lowers her eyes and frowns. I benefit a lot from it. I do believe the Fire Nation is superior and fire is the superior element. But no, I think my father's plan is too much. There is little I can do though. Naruto nods. And how do you feel about your brother? Honestly. She frowns deeper. I was always jealous of how mother loved him more. Made me all the prouder when father favored me for my skills as a bender. But I would lose everything if he came back and father's plan failed. I don't know how to feel about that. I want him back, but I don't want to lose. Hey, don't know why you are interested or why I feel the need to justify myself to you. Naruto nods satisfied. Ty Lee, is she redeemable? Mai and Azula's eyes widen and turn to Ty Lee as she joins Naruto and raises her mask. I believe she is. But whether it can be done peacefully is yet to be seen. Ty Lee, what is this? Naruto shakes his head. All will be explained. Ty Lee, do you believe if I reveal the truth to her, she can sacrifice enough to allow this war to end? Ty Lee looks into Azula's eyes with a calculating look. Something she has never seen from her before. I believe we should give her the chance. Deep down she is good. Only her fear and insecurities keep up this mask of madness. Give her stability and balance and I believe she would be a good person to more than just her close circle of friends. If not, then it matters little. This ends in peace or death either way and secrets mean nothing to the dead. Mai sniggers. And you call them dark and gloomy. Ty Lee giggles. Sorry Mai. Mai waves her off. Naruto nods and removes his mask, revealing a very attractive man to them. He then proceeds to explain his history and the events leading up to now. After she was sufficiently trained and the opportunity arose, I had Ty Lee join you to determine if you were worth saving or if you would be like your father. She means well of course and is your friend. However, a shinobi must kill their heart to do what must be done and this was her final test. She has passed that and left your judgment up to me. Only one thing remains to determine that. Your answer. Azula frowns. What answer? Naruto nods. Soon this place will be invaded by the Avatar looking for your father. To get to the throne room he will have to come through here. Whether he gets there or not depends on you. We both know that's a waste of time, but it is relevant to you. Will you let them past and allow them to try ending this war? Or will you fight and die for your pride? Pride. Yes. This whole war is based on pride. The belief that fire is better than all other elements. Pride makes a person arrogant. Pride leads to anger and conflict. Like all things, pride is good in small doses, but too much pride is a poison. It can and will lead to death. I find people who put aside pride for the greater good are much nicer people. Azula is fighting herself. She will never admit it, but this man frightens her. She knows he can kill her in the blink of an eye, but she hates to lose. If I allow him to pass. If I give up my pride. I wish to remain Fire Lord. Can you guarantee that? Naruto considers. I can't. However, I can recommend it. As long as you keep Zuko on as an advisor and rule the people well. No more war. Peace for the world. That means compromise and sometimes backing down and losing some things. A leader must sacrifice for their people after all. Can you do that? Azula frowns and then after a few seconds nods. I promise nothing, but I can try. I admit Zuko is better with people than I am. Naruto smiles and nods. That is all I ask, Azula. You know your ancestor Sakura was stubborn and had a temper just like you. But she was smart and kind when she learned to temper herself. I believe she would be proud of you. Ty Lee runs up to Azula and hugs her. I'm proud of you too, Azula. I had faith you would choose right. Sorry I had to deceive you. Mai claps her on the back and Azula hugs her hesitantly. I'm more surprised you could rather than that you would, Ty Lee. Azula scowls at Naruto. God or not Naruto, if you ever hurt Ty Lee I will find a way to kill you painfully. Naruto chuckles. If I ever hurt her, I will begin searching for a worthy successor and fade as the previous Shinju did. Azula nods. So, what now? Naruto frowns. Aang will be here soon. June, Ty Lee and I will wait in the throne room for him. You will remain here and point him to us. I still have something to discuss with him before the final battle. Azula nods and the team walk away. Mai chuckles. Fooled us. Didn't think it was possible. Can't believe Tylee is the Crimson Nightmare. No wonder she knew so much about him. Azula nods. I'm just happy she is happy. HMPH lucky though. He's a hunk. Mai smirks. You know the legends about him say he's not exclusive if his wife is up for sharing. Azula frowns. I won't hold my breath. I feel like as much as he has let me live, that door is closed to me. An hour later, Aang and the gang arrived in the throne room to find the fires out and Naruto, June and Tylee sitting on the steps. Where is the Fire Lord? What are you doing here? Naruto looks up. Did Iroh tell you about me? Aang nods. I'm still not sure if I believe him or not. If he told you, then you know what I am doing here. Aang nods and frowns. You intend to end the conflict. That doesn't explain why you are here if the Fire Lord isn't. Naruto snorts. Still a child. Shinobi have a saying. Look underneath the underneath. I could have ended this war months ago, but that would not solve the conflict and prevent another war. I needed to set up contingencies. Learn about the people of this time and the events of this world since I slept. Naruto grins behind the mask. Ko says hello by the way. Aang's eyes widen. You've been to the spirit world. He nods. The process is similar to something I once did long ago. The result was unexpected but a welcome one. Anyway, back on subject. To settle this conflict for good, I needed to plan for what happens after. That meant I had to judge people as benefit or threat. I eliminated many threats. Zuko can attest to the ones I spared, as he is one himself. Now only one remains to test. I can't kill you, Aang, but your answer will decide whether I allow you to continue your duty as you are or continue to do things my way. Until you are ready. Aang has a sinking feeling. What is the question? Naruto looks in his eyes cold and Aang shivers. I already asked it. Last we met. Do you remember? Aang thinks back to that day and frowns deeper than ever. If it means saving those I care for. If it means peace. Can I kill my enemy? Naruto nods. Well, Aang shakes his head. I can't. Killing is wrong. Naruto growls. Still you ignore your duty to be a child. Was I ever so foolish? Fine. You want to see the consequences of your failure, then I will show you. Naruto goes through hand seals, putting the Avatar team on guard. Secret art, mind viewing jutsu. The world goes white for a moment before they all stand in the air above a city. Though it's not one they know. Aang, what is this? I don't know, Katara. Naruto's voice is heard all around them. This is what awaits in the future should you do what you intend. Republic City in 50 years. You achieve everything you want over the next few years. You and Katara get married and have 3 children. One is an airbender, one a waterbender, and the third a non-bender. Azula is dead. Zuko rules the Fire Nation. Peace achieved. At the end of your life you reincarnate once more. And once more conflict arises. 50 years, Aang. A small amount of time for true peace. I achieved peace for the world that lasted 1,000 years and a further 1,000 years after I slept. The purpose of the Avatar is to bring balance, but the truth of the Avatar is that you are only one part of the puzzle. One side of the coin. Light and darkness must be balanced. You do not achieve balance. You look for peace. Temporary peace which does not last. Your previous lives understood this and did what was necessary. Small deeds of light and dark that maintained balance and peace through 3,000 years. I did not need to wait because they did what was needed for this world. Are you saying you know better, child? The city below them devolves into a war zone before it is taken over by spirit vines and people are attacked by angry spirits. The scene changes to his reincarnation having her bending taken away, and then to a scene of Rava and Vaatu fighting in the ocean by his statue. How does it end? Asks Aang. She does know better than you. Worse, in fact. Like you, she is impatient and childish. It is fine to be a child, but as a higher power you must know when to grow up and do what must be done. She once more achieves peace, but she must do it 3 times in her lifetime, and each time becomes more destructive. Within 1,000 years the people lose faith in the Avatar and no longer rely on them. It all begins with you. Aang closes his eyes and sheds a tear as the scene fades. Is there no other way? Naruto shakes his head. Always, but none more effective. There is no light without darkness, Aang. No Rava without Vaatu. No yin without yang. No ocean without moon. As long as there is peace, there will be war. So, to have peace, you need to end war violently enough that people will remember. If you don't, people forget. And war begins again. That is why the Shinju exists. Without me, this world devolves into chaos and eventually nothing remains but a void. You exist because I did my job too well and the demons of my time became peaceful. They became spirits and moved to this world. My mistake was too much light created a void of darkness and nature overcorrected. You were nature's way of trying to fix the problem. But like me, you didn't know enough, and each life you led, you made more mistakes. I will not sleep again until I am certain this won't happen again. I must maintain this world, and it seems I am needed to teach your kind to do what must be done. Zuko scowls. What of my father? Naruto nods. I will take you to him. Their Aang will have one final chance to do what must be done. Failure will not be tolerated. Ozai will die. If you can't, then I must. Taking his bending is not enough. Even a man without bending can start war. Naruto stands up and walks toward the avatar with his team and turns around. Everybody touch a part of my body. Doesn't matter where. Tylee takes his arm and puts her head on his shoulder, bring him a smile. June puts a hand on his shoulder. The rest each put a hand on his back or other shoulder or arm. They all disappear in a flash and reappear on a rock outcrop near the airship fleet just inside the Earth Nation. Aang falls to his knees and pukes over the cliff. Katara stumbles and holds her head. Zuko shakes his head and Toph falls on her butt. Sokka frowns and digs in his ear. Naruto laughs. Sorry, it's always fun to see people the first time using that. Aang had the most typical reaction. Though I'm impressed with Sokka. Trained with a sword. Regimen based on speed, balance and precision. Sokka grins and nods. Toph groans. Ugh, why do I feel like the whole world is spinning? Naruto grimaces. Sorry. The Hiraishin takes some getting used to as it messes with your balance the first few times. I didn't consider that somebody who is blind would be more reliant on their other senses and would take a worse hit than the others. You will be fine in a couple minutes. Toph waves him off. She can feel his sincerity. So, you can see the future. Naruto shakes his head. No, I can make calculations though. That future you saw was an illusion, but it's most likely based on what I know of both how my old world and this new one work. A person can change. Hinata proved that more than most. But people as a whole will always be the same until we can evolve beyond the need to conflict. Katara looks sadly at the burning landscape. Will we ever be that strong? Naruto smiles and pats her shoulder. Someday. Maybe. Until then, it's up to me and the Avatar to do what needs to be done to prevent chaos. Naruto bends down to her ear and whispers. He truly loves you. The reason he has trouble with his Avatar state is because he can't bear the idea of letting you go. You are both the key to his innocence and the key to his growth into a new world of peace. Guide him whether he succeeds or not. He will need you. Katara blushes and nods. Naruto nods and points to the ship at the fore of the fleet. Ozai is there, Aang. Do what you must. Aang nods and flies towards the ship. The fight was impressive to say a lot. Aang countered everything Ozai threw at him. He even went into the Avatar state while bending all the elements at once. He defeated Ozai and took his bending. Naruto frowns. It's over and time to reclaim my power. Zuko frowns. What do you mean? Naruto looks up at the comet in the sky and Tylee smiles. I suggest everybody stands back a little. Naruto is about to do something you will never forget. Curiosity overrules fear and everybody steps back. Even Aang below is looking at Naruto. Naruto gathers a massive amount of Raten chakra. So much so that he glows with light and looks like he is about to explode. Releasing it all at once from his hand, the comet is vaporized in a massive bolt of lightning. After it is done, Naruto is struck with a light so bright everybody has to cover their eyes. Once it is over, Naruto stands before them once again. Around him there is a bright aura like none have seen, and his eyes have changed into the Shinjugen. He floats down to Aang and Ozai slowly with his arms crossed. Once again, what was mine is mine again. Tell me, Aang. What is your answer? Mercy for a moment, or a moment of darkness for lasting peace? Choose. Ozai growls. He won't kill me. He's a coward. I will live and I will be back. I will take everything from you all and I will be all powerful. Naruto shakes his head and looks at Aang. Aang looks down feeling useless. I know I should, but I can't. Sorry. Naruto nods. I am disappointed. But then you are still a child. I can only hope you grow to be as wise as your past lives in time. Go Aang. Be with those you care for. I will do what you can't. Until you are ready, I will be your darkness. Aang nods and flies up to his friends. Once he is on the cliff, Naruto steps in front of Ozai. I know those eyes. My grandfather told me the stories. How he stole your power and ensured our rise. Naruto nods. Given another century or two, I might have truly died. But neither you nor he ever used more than a fraction of my power. A mortal body can't handle it without being destroyed. Descendant of Sasuke Uchiha, I find you guilty of disturbing the balance of the world and bringing chaos. Your death is warranted. Any last words? Only regrets. Azula and Zuko would have made fine rulers if they could find a middle ground between them. Naruto nods. Rest assured that is my intention. If it can work, it will. Ozai nods and looks Naruto in the eye. Naruto goes through hand seals and lightning crackles around his hand. The sound is like 1,000 birds chirping. He rams his hand through Ozai's heart before incinerating his body to ash. Once it's done, he floats up to the cliff again with a solemn look on his face and stands before Aang. To kill for the right reasons is not wrong, Aang. You only become a monster if you enjoy it or feel nothing. Now come. There is much to discuss. The next 50 years were hectic to say the least. Azula became Fire Lord as she wished and ruled well. With a firm but fair hand. Zuko did well in advising and tempering her. Together they brought peace to both the Earth and Fire nations, and relations had never been better. Katara and her father returned to the Southern Water Tribe and began rebuilding with help from the Fire Nation and Northern Water Tribe. Sokka traveled the nations for years, learning many forms of fighting, and became a mercenary working with June. Eventually settling down with her and having a family. Naruto even tutored him in the shinobi arts of taijutsu and kenjutsu. Once he was proficient, he presented him with the sword of the second Hokage to go with his own meteor sword. Naruto even took him to visit Kaguya and told him of what she now is. However, neither was willing to act on their love and instead remained as friends and family. Kaguya even went as far as to take Sokka's firstborn as her godson. Toph moved back home to the Baifeng mansion but was no longer treated as a glass doll but rather respected as a wise warrior. She spent her years teaching earth and metal bending. She died old and happy and was honored by her students for many years to come. Aang spent years traveling the nations, exploring and searching for answers before he realized Naruto was right. Sometimes a little darkness brings the longest lasting light. Having come to terms with this, he achieved peace with himself and full control over his power. He spent his remaining years maintaining peace and happy with Katara. They had 3 children just as Naruto predicted and were astonished how accurate he was. Naruto spent a couple years in the Southern Water Nation teaching Katara how to use her water bending to heal. She also came to peace with her blood bending. By the time he left, she had developed a reputation so good that people from all nations visited her for healing. Life was good for the Water Tribe. Naruto and Ty Lee returned to Ember Island and visited her sisters after they were married in a big ceremony. Zuko's insisted on that detail, as did Azula. Nothing but the best for my friend, she said. As they stood at the front door, Naruto smirks and looks back down the beach. There stood Janie scowling at them. I think you said once you were done, she would be able to beat me just as easy as you did. Care to test that? Naruto looks to Ty Lee and she grins at him and walks towards her sister. Janie frowns as she looks at her sister. You changed your look, but you don't look stronger. Ty Lee smiles. Looks can be deceiving. They took their stances and Naruto signaled them to begin. Junie never knew what hit her. For Ty Lee everything was in slow motion. All she did was run at her sister, sweep her feet, then as she fell locked off the nerves in her arms and legs. It took her less than 3 seconds. Ty Lee giggles. Hey Naruto, you were right. It felt like she was in slow motion. Naruto nods and hugs her. That's the training. You are used to much faster and stronger opponents, so weaker ones seem to move slower. They turn as they hear Janie groaning. You should probably help her. Ty Lee nods and releases her sister before helping her stand. Sitting on the stairs to the house, she groans again. Well, you are a man of your word. She beat me faster than you did. Naruto smiles. I was never much of a liar, so I prefer to keep my word. Causes less problems and hurts fewer people. Do you and your sisters want to learn? Ty Lee and all the girls look at him like he has a second head. You would teach us? Naruto nods. There would be a cost, of course. An oath. Tylee smiles. Like you gave Sasuke. Naruto nods and smiles. You know me well, Haim. Yes, that's what I have in mind. Junie frowns. What oath? He smirks. In Sasuke's case it was loyalty to village. But for you I think it will be an ideal. Loyalty to family and peace. You and all I train will help me to maintain peace throughout the nations. You will be my eyes and ears and in extreme cases judge and executioner. Betray your family or your duty and death is the result. There will of course be leniency. I don't ask you to kill without reason or become a murderer or monster. I also don't expect you to accept everything I say and tell you to do instantly and without question. Just do your best. Janie looks at her sisters and then at Tylee. Has Tylee learned to do all this yet? Naruto nods. She still has much to learn, but yes, she can kill if needed. She is also a good judge of character. Become as good as she is now, and I will find that acceptable. Janie looks at her sister again. Has he ever asked you to kill somebody without giving a reason? She shakes her head. Never without a reason. I didn't always understand it, but there always was one. I won't lie, sometimes you won't understand the whole story and he has gotten things wrong. That's when it's up to you to judge. Mistakes will be made, but in the end the price is worth it for peace. Janie looks back at her sisters and they all nod. Fine. Teach us. Naruto smiles and leads the way to his cave. Looks like I need to remodel my old home. We will need more room to work. As Naruto spent the next 20 years training his new police force, he was approached by the White Lotus again and the Uzumaki returned home to a zoo. Once again, he had family and lived many years teaching and training his students through the generations. The world was at peace for many thousands of years between his actions, Kaguya's guidance and the future Avatar's works. Tylee and Suki eventually came to an understanding and Suki joined Naruto and her, having a big family. The Uzumaki and Kyoshi warriors became close after that and marriages became commonplace between the groups. The world never experienced conflict on a large scale again and the people prospered through time. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.